stats coming in as well. There's only J9O breaking into the top 15 out of both of these teams. And he's in 15th. That's why I picked the top 15.
If he was in 17th, would it have been
the top 17, Des, you've got me. But no, that's the reality. You know, none of these players so far have been able to get into those sort of top 10 positions that we see in the big names at the tournament hitting so far.
Sen's ban coming out as a real spicy one. We spoke about Sen's quite a bit throughout the tournament. That might be the first time I've ever seen Sen's bans. That might be the first time.
Very popular so far since the change to the gadget where you can optionally put it up and down.
Might genuinely be the first time I've ever seen that operator banned away, so definitely comes in as a big surprise, but they've watched what's been going on over the last week. They've seen SSG rolling it out, quite literally, with the light screens, and now it's banned away. Very, very interesting. So we get to start things off then, Tim, on Consulate, as mentioned. SSG kick things off on the defense. I have a feeling, Tim, this one's going to be a really close series as well. It doesn't feel as clear-cut as you might imagine, looking at it and saying, well, SSG have gone home from every competition in the quarterfinals since they won SI all those years ago. FaZe have always been close. On paper, you feel like you know who the winner should be. But SSG have had 6 months now with Benja being on the team. They've got themselves bedded in. They've got all those, I guess you call them rituals in a way that you heard the devs speaking about. They've really locked themselves into a lot of the psychology and the physicality of being at the top level of performance. So maybe, Tim, just maybe, they can cause a bit of an upset here today. I don't think it'll happen on Consulate. As Leo said, FaZe have won this map in the last 9 times they've played it, every single time. A hard team to beat, so we'll see how things go. Starting things up on the top floor, let's see how FaZe do on the attack.
Rob mixing up SSG's daily rituals for mine at the beginning there, Des. I can tell you now there's been no frozen lake plungers in my week.
No.
I don't think it'd work here in Boston. It's that cold at the minute. I think I'd just bounce off, to be honest, if I went for it.
We were walking back yesterday from our game of hockey, and Fresh was like, how much to run across that lake that's frozen? I was like, you won't pay me anything for that, mate. I'm not doing it. Cannot face it. I was just looking at the numbers as well, by the way. Very interestingly, Sen's is actually SSG's 3rd most played attacking operator at the tournament. I didn't expect that. I thought we'd see, when we've seen Ace and Twitch in there, I thought we'd see a few other candidates stepping up, but no. Sen's being in 3rd, I think it is a very intelligent ban coming out from SSG. And in this round at least, they've got themselves, of course, in the defense. They are very, very dug in. That comp to me just screams, Tim, a big-time Turtle focus. You'll see a bit of roaming, of course, out towards admin, but you're not going to see them going absolutely nuts across the entire map. It's just not what this comp is built for.
No, I think SSG recognising now that a lot of the pressure is going to come towards Yellow's side. They've just undergone a bit of a shift. They were out towards admin, but particularly Forrest on the clash, he's the one you want to watch because you're going to send that off. Oh, it's too easy, but Handy misses his opportunity. Fultz would have been a big takedown as well. One of the top-rated players on SSG on the smoke. That would have been a real big moment. Ashen manages to take down Cyber with a Nitro to get things kicked off, and SSG holding firm for the time being at least.
And this clash is doing so much work, Tim. So hard to bring down, but naturally feeds information on when FaZe are stepping across to go for their peaks. At this point, we're going to go ourselves straight in towards the middle of the smoke here, Tim. King's got in, and the backstab is there. You can't rely on the smokes to hold everyone at bay forever, Tim. And King has just shown that. But SSG, they recover down to a 3 versus 1, and Handy has got it all to do.
Yeah, moves up those yellow stairs, and it's going to be difficult. There's not really much he could do. He could potentially, relocate, reposition over to the admin side, but in a 1v3, probably not much point. It's just about going in there, try and get some kills. He's going to pop the gadget on. He can keep that going for as long as he wants. He will only be shown on cameras. You can see there, they are checking the camera. They won't know that he's there, Des, because he's not going to be seen because he's not running, but they see him with their eyes. That's the one thing that they cannot deceive is the eyes of the players when they're looking directly at them. Sprays through the wall, does manage to down Fultz. 1v3 becomes a 1v2. This is winnable with 45 seconds. Takes some damage. Downs another, I think, but J9O manages to find the final kill. SSG holding firm on the top floor.
Very close to finding the last there. Would have been heartbreak for SSG because they did hold it really well, Tim. I think outside of King being in the spot that he was to repel into the smoke and then say, right, I'm going for the backstab onto this clash because it's holding us at bay. That was a very high-risk play, but you saw the reward coming out when he managed to find 2. This play here, in through the smoke, most players wouldn't do that. And there's probably a question really on Fultz, like, yeah, eventually he swings and gets the kill, but you've let a man in where you're really not meant to, relying a little bit too much on those smoke canisters to do the job. But SSG hold on. We now move down into the basement. Starting off well, Tim. We've got that Skopos on side. We love seeing a Skopos getting picked out. just because we've seen so many interesting plays from it over, well, the last 6 months, I'd say, across the stages, across events as well. Is Fultz got one of those in the tank?
We'll keep an eye on where that spare shell ends up. I would imagine Fultz will do a little bit of setup and then he will take himself to the position that he's going to then transfer back, because the spare one at the minute isn't much use nor ornament, I would suggest, in the position that it's in. So he will be looking at the top floor potentially here, which is always an exciting one, because you've got that potential for just teleporting up, getting into your opposite shell and getting down on the flank. It's those exciting moments we saw hot and cold, of course, in the group stages. Use it to perfection. We will keep an eye on that as we go. The rest of the defensive lineup, got the Legion, got the Warden, got the Mirror, so pretty standard as we would expect here. Benja on the Solace suggests he's going to get out in the map as well. He's currently up on the top floor. So FaZe are going to need to be careful here. Make sure that they're going in, that they're aware of where everybody is, and that they're clearing them as well, because right now the Scorpos, the Solace, they could do some real damage in this round. Definitely something to keep your eye on.
Yes. I mean, Benja already being pushed back as well as the key one. He's the one out there trying to waste a bit of time, and if inside 30 seconds you've almost lost your life, it's a bit of a stinger. KDS now starting to spin his way around as well. J9O is tucked in the back corner though, so it's not going to be too easy. Elsewhere, the kills are beginning to fly across the map. Will they get in and get a freebie here? J9O's got a swing, goes in, and finds just that. It's still, yet again though, Tim, a 3 versus 2 for SSG.
As the pressure began to mount, we saw Fultz just teleport back down into sight, into his other Scorpos shell. Actually lost his life now, so that's going to remove the threat for FaZe on top floor. But the real threat that's up there is Benja. He takes down Souls. He was part of this roaming duo of him and Fultz. Fultz with the opportunity, the option to just get himself back to sight quickly. That's the way that he was using the Scorpos, an operator that we know has many different ways that it can be manipulated, that it can be employed, but in this case it was just a quick return to sight. 3 versus 1 then. Vitaking just trying to work his way in from the back of sight. J9O, super important position, and he played it to perfection. On that pillar, he stopped KDS doing the damage from bottom yellow stairs. That was the first important move, and then he gets the final kill onto Vitaking as he comes down from spiral stairs, and that is why that pillar is such a powerful position in basement.
I brought the numbers for it earlier when I was looking at Consulate, and I was like, cool, it's a great map when you look at it for FaZe, but it's not exactly an unpopular map for SSG. Over the last 6 months, they've played it 6 times. They're 3-3 on it. You look at it and go, okay, 50% win rate. That's okay. Not forgetting they played it at international events as well. They've played it against big competition. To have a win record is definitely a big accomplishment in FaZe's books, but SSG are certainly not like new to this map. To me, it's not like they barely ever play it. And I think across those first 2 rounds, they've looked largely unbothered by FaZe, and maybe this comes back a bit to FaZe's playstyle. They are one of the more like slow teams that we have at the tournament. They do kind of remind me a lot of Virtus Pro to some degree, where they will take a lot of control. They will play things slow. They're not really going to be a hard rush team. You might see it once in a blue moon. And outside of Vitaking's kind of surprise back in that first round, we've not really seen much that suggests SSG are too rattled by what they're seeing coming out of the Brazilian side. So a lot of comfort being shown in those first 2 rounds, and already starting to build up a little bit of a war chest for when these sides flip.
It's been a great start, a great start for SSG so far. Like you said, just building themselves that buffer that they can rely on later into things. We can see that there's 3 of SSG up on that top floor. So once again, I feel like FaZe maybe failed to, successfully do that last time. I said to watch Benja, and he was indeed the one that hurt them from the top floor. So FaZe got to be aware of that, and I want to see them getting in there, taking top floor control, and then we can see a little bit more from them on the attack. We can see exactly how they deal with the site, how they deal with the utility, how is that execution push, because right now, Des, we haven't had an opportunity to see that from them. They've lost in the early round battles, they've lost manpower, and then they've just had to go and look for kills.
Yes, need to see a little bit more, I think, coming out, because every single time they've pulled off this sort of push forward as a team, they've always come out men down. 3 versus 2s we commonly see building out for them, and now Vitaking falls on the Grim, no less, Tim. Remember all of those bees to buzz around and follow this SSG lineup and find themselves a bit comfier as a result. Benja going down, the Goyo being the Roma here. Once those Vulcan canisters are deployed, it is far from the end of the world. So I can't imagine SSG are too fussed about losing Benja, but it does give some more map control over to FaZe.
Yeah, still 2 on the top floor for FaZe to deal with as well. We've got Ashen and J9 up there, and again, they're just going to try to hold those positions. Ashen likely has the shotgun, I would imagine, but going to be taken down. That's a big one from Cyber because it prevents SSG from being able to make any new verticals. They've got top floor control. This is more what I wanted to see out of FaZe. Come in there, get that map control by the halfway mark. Now they can pile the pressure on Forest and Fultz. They can start thinking about sight. They can start thinking about getting handy in there with that diffuser. We've got a little bit of a standoff here, Des. Cyber and Fultz on those back stairs. It's too easy for Cyber. Takes down Fultz with a few shots to the back, and FaZe are cruising in round 3.
They just looked him like they slowed things down even more in this round, and where SSG get a bit impatient and start trying to find members of FaZe to bring down, expecting a hit to come through. FaZe have just sat either outside the map or, as you saw from Cyber, on yellow stairs and let the members of SSG come to them. So a good little switch in pacing there from FaZe that has actually got them around on the board. It is 1 in 3. SSG still in the lead at 2-1 after that first quarter. We're now going to repeat those same 3 sites again, starting up on the second floor. But again, just a real good switch of things there from FaZe. Really liked what I saw. Like I say here, these next 3 kills you'll see on your screen, they just sat and waited. They let SSG largely come to them. It's good stuff. That one was a bit ridiculous, really. Full Flash is still getting a kill. Wonderful stuff.
Yeah, just playing a little bit less of SSG's game and a little bit more sort of patient, which is what we expect out of FaZe. They're going to set up in their own way. They're going to play their game, and they're going to let you play into them. And SSG that time have sort of fallen foul of that, really. FaZe able to get themselves around, but I don't think SSG will really care too much. You know, don't get me wrong, every round you win is fantastic, but it was their third choice start. They went top floor, they went bottom floor. Piano was then their third choice, so you're kind of not always expecting to win that. If you can come in here with a 4-2 half, it plays into what Jack was saying on the desk to begin with, that FaZe's attacking percentage is just not good enough realistically in terms of what we're seeing at the tournament. Way behind teams like G2, who are absolutely flying at the minute. FaZe have been winning games despite that, but this is getting to the sharp end of the tournament now. When we start moving into Phase 2, it's those sorts of issues that, whilst you got away with it in groups, you probably won't get away with it for too long here in Phase 2. So FaZe need to start sharpening up. If they only come away with 2 attacks again, they're in that same position, 30-something%, and it's going to be tough for them to continue like that. They've got to start getting those 50% plus attacking halves.
It's quite dire to say that your attacking win rate is lower than a team that has already been sent home. You know, Stars have a better attacking win rate than what FaZe do, which is crazy to think about. And you would hope it's going to warm up, but as you often say to me, Tim, what you see in the groups is not always indicative of how the rest of the tournament will play. We've seen teams go, I mean, like G2 had, they go flawless in groups, and then everything can start falling apart when you get to Phase 2. I'm not convinced it will for G2 this tournament. Admittedly, they've looked great so far, but we've seen it happen at events for other teams before. Either way, here we go. Handy starting his march up here from basement. He's having a little sniff around here, of course, assisted by the drones off towards his right-hand side, so he knows this is relatively safe. Imagine trying to head his way out towards Spiral here and cause a little bit of bother, knowing that we've got to think about that top floor here, Tim, once he gets underneath inside a piano. Oh, they're in a great spot. Start chewing up that floor, unsettle some defenders, while the rest of your team gets set up for the execute behind that Ying and the Grim, and things start to look good.
Touchdown just being allowed to take out an awful lot of utility there. Minute 30 mark, losing 2 Vulcan canisters is really going to facilitate this top floor push across from the admin side that FaZe are trying to build here. They're going to open up the cubby wall, just give those angles in, a little bit of phantom pressure as they get themselves up onto the roof to a little bit of safety. The Clash is going to be in a super important position here. Forest is going to be probably at the sharp end of this FaZe attack. It looks like that's where it's coming from, unless they have a little wobble, lose a man or 2 and choose to rotate. But right now it's coming their way, and it could be a tidal wave.
You see Handy just starting to harass them from underneath in the backline here as well, so there's not really a super safe spot for SSG to get themselves inside of. 2 players stepping through Barb here to step forward and try and find the fight. They found one, traded back onto Souls immediately, but once again, Tim, FaZe are in control.
They haven't dealt with Forest, and that's been part of the problem. They've been so magnetised towards that shield that Fultz and J9 have been able to move into long desk and start picking kills up. Absolutely fantastic stuff from them. I think a little bit of pressure from Meeting Door at the same time, and that Clash has done its job. Just absorbed so much pressure there has Forest, and been such a focal point for FaZe to clear out that the rest of the attack has crumbled. SSG holding on really well. 3-1 start.
I think a lot of it came down to one, Fultz getting a couple of kills. Jano in this spot here, he'd been harassed earlier on the long desk by that buck from below, so he was forced to step back here in towards the back room. Has found himself a 3K from the spot as well. Wonderful stuff. And I think for FaZe, probably just not accounting for, as you say, that clash and how much bother it was really going to cause them. When you had two players stepping up through barbed wire, you had the clash still shocking them out. It was like walking through mud. They couldn't really get anywhere, Tim, without SSG being able to react in time. Really good defense yet again. They've kept FaZe at bay. Now we go down to the basement.
And the thing is, Des, the clash was present in round 1 on the top floor. I don't feel like FaZe have done what they needed to do to recognise that that was probably going to be a problem again, and how are we going to deal with it? Last time, yeah, they managed to get in there behind. It was a little bit of a rush playing through the window. It didn't pan out in terms of the round, but yeah, they got the clash down. But if you're going to push from admin and you're going to face a clash, you might have a more difficult time. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, what have you really brought along to deal with that clash? They haven't really brought the utility that they needed to deal with it. There's no Zofia there to create a shield break. There's no, you know, are they getting nades into that position? Have they got a Capitao to burn them out? Not enough thought towards that clash, potentially.
Right, in we step. Got this blitz on side, joined up with the Dokkaebi and the Jackal. They want to go fast, Tim, and go fast, they will. Ashen on the Vigil being punished. And we spoke about seeing Vigil play throughout the week. G2, more of a kind of trolling nature, it felt against Joel a little bit, Doki having a little bit of fun with it. But the problem a number of teams have fell short on at this tournament is having players out on their own entirely by themselves. And top teams, and you know what, FaZe's attacks might have been a little bit lackluster so far this tournament. However, they will be able to punish a player. I tell you what, you're not getting a kill in that spot, I'm afraid. It's just far too close. They're very good, though, Tim, at isolating out players and punishing them. The Jackal and the Dokkaebi together here, really sending them full hell for leather for Ashen to begin with, and Benja was almost going to suffer the same fate. But yet again, Tim, they've held an angle, KDS has waited, and Fultz has ran right into his waiting arms.
Yeah, this clearance has been way better from FaZe. They've brought what they needed. I've been critical of that in the last round, but this time they've got everything they've needed. They've recognised what happened on the defence last time around. They've adapted their attack, and they've made it very difficult for SSG. Getting those 2 kills, Fultz and Ashen, gives them now a big platform to work from. They're starting to open up the hatches. They're going to start softening the sight up. Things are going to get difficult, but Benja manages to find a lifeline, just a glimmer of hope in the round for SSG as he takes down Cyber.
You've got Forest looking towards Bunker here, where he's been sat for the longest time. He was hoping to catch the blitz out earlier on. I was going to say they don't know that he's here, but he's just been droned out. The problem is now he's got a Jackal and a blitz starting to bear down on him from those Visa stairs, Tim. So he's in a spot of hot bother unless he can get back to site safely. Has got cover from Jano on the south side, so he should be good to get back and join his team here. FaZe have got 60 seconds to play.
Yeah, FaZe have continued doing work upstairs and have decided to just drop directly into sight, and it's been a fantastic decision as Handy manages to find J9O. The Zoto canister's going to slow his progress down, and Benja is able to find the kill, but Souls is there for the trade. The diffuser goes down. It's 1v3. Forest has it all to do on the Kaid. Can do absolutely nothing as Souls manages to find that crucial second attacking round. But can FaZe go better than their previous stats suggest, and can they get this final attack in round 6 to go 50-50?
That felt like watching a game of chess from FaZe. And it sounds weird to say that when you've got quite a fast comp that consists of a Jackal and a Blitz charging through the map trying to hunt down those that are on their own. But that's exactly why it was like a game of chess. Every time they've managed to force a player from SSG to move, they've taken the ground, they've double-checked everything they're trying to do, they've identified that the team was split in half because, as I mentioned, Forest was stuck out in blue. Once they saw him on drone, Tim, 10 seconds later, they're dropping Hatch inside a site. They know they've got the man advantage and are like, this is cool. He's so far away, he really can't get involved here. He's a little bit pinched out, if nothing else. So every time they've seen the opponent make a move, FaZe are just one step ahead and have got something else in mind to deal with it. Really smart round from them.
Well, that's it. You saw the decision-making process. As soon as the drone sees Forest, there's only 3 there. So it's 2 on site, guys. So let's just drop the hatch and take the fights. And yet Forest, you know, makes it back into that fight, but it's no surprise he was the last one left alive.
And they knew where he was coming from.
Yeah, exactly. They know that he's coming from the rear side. They know he's going to be 10 seconds late to the fight. So all they had to do was find the first 2 kills, and they did it beautifully. So FaZe, great play on the fly, great adaptation, and just recognizing the intel that they had in front of them, what it was telling them, and working effectively nicely around it. So we're going to see our last defensive round now, and SSG are going to bring out the split site. There's tough one to win on. We've spoken about this at length. Multiple attacking options. FaZe can go in above. They can look to work the verticals and go for a planting tellers alternatively, and it looks like this is going to be the choice. Get yourself into garage, work laterally across, and look for a plant inside of archives.
This is the starting point, right? There's a lot you've got to figure out if you want to try and get a push onto the side. It can be that garage side start. It can be the top floor working down. There's a lot that you can think about. They aren't leaning in towards things like the Jackal, and they're trying. Still got the Doka be on side. No blitz as well. It's instead the Monty. Suggests a much slower lateral push to me for Tim, rather than trying to play Rover Hunter. A bit of cat and mouse across the entirety of the map for those that might not be on site.
Interestingly, Cyber elsewhere on the map on the RAM is currently on Repel. I don't know whether he's going to look to get himself into Visa. That's not gone quite to plan. He'll go for that one again, I think. I don't know whether he's looking to get into Visa or maybe even looking to get into admin on the RAM. Could potentially go in there and look to open things up a little bit. Just get those verticals down into Visa, make it difficult to hold that ground, but he's on the rappel in between both at the minute, so we'll see what he chooses to do. He does have one boogie drone left.
If nothing else, having those verticals opened up, it's the threat of someone being there that can often force SSG to be a little bit more mindful of how they're rotating through the site. It starts to restrict their movement. If someone isn't that vertical, you're dead to rights. But most of the time, someone won't be there, as we've seen for the most part. Forrest, you can just see on the other screen now as well, dipping away from playing in bunker, almost conceding that away thing and not wanting to hang around there too much longer. Ashen going down a handy. Not a great start. Ashen, I know, has gone down quite early on in a few of these rounds. Tim, what a shot across onto Fultz as well. Two have collapsed on SSG, and with the Monty now bearing down on them, and the C4 being shot out by his teammate, it looks like FaZe Team are in a great spot to close the half 3-3.
Yeah, and again, patience has paid dividends for FaZe here. They've got Cyber in above now. He's just operating in and around Visa. He's got that advantage. He's using it perfectly to take down Benja. Souls manages to find Forrest. They're getting absolutely cut down here. J9O with a big double though. Nitro and a headshot onto KDS makes this slightly more winnable, but no, can't pick up the fight with Andy. FaZe close it out, and that is better attacking from FaZe. We know that they like Consulate, and we can see why. 3-3.
Won 3 of the last 4 rounds, and honestly, Tim, it felt like they'd warmed up. Those first couple of rounds, they felt like SSG had the answer to them. This is the problem, I think. FaZe looks a little bit unsettled, couldn't quite get into their groove. That third round, when they really slowed things down and started just waiting for SSG to push into them, for them to get a little bit antsy, that's when they started finding success. And in those last 2 rounds, I think really showed their prowess and their attacking chops. Whether it was Roamer Hunter, whether it was going straight towards site and just being very, very careful in terms of watching flanks, they've showed a little bit of everything in my view. And as mentioned, for me, a couple of players in SSG in that half, I get it. You're playing a Vigil, for example, you want to be out on the roam by yourself. That's kind of the nature of that operator. It's very selfish, Tim, which sounds like a really bad word, but it can work magic sometimes. But I just feel like FaZe have consistently found the answer to dealing with those roamers, and it has always left SSG a man down. Now we get the swap, and this is where FaZe Team can really show their strength, because while they might be a bottom 5 attacking team at the tournament, they're a top 5 defensive team on their favorite map, and SSG are really going to have to work hard to get something out of this.
Yeah, things not going to get any easier for the North American side from here on in. Really needed that 4-2 half, you feel, on their defense to be able to get anything out of this one. And, you know, we've spoken about FaZe's performances so far and how, you know, have they been as strong as we might expect through the groups? The players aren't breaking into those top 10, top 15 rated players at the tournament just yet. And I say this time and time again, form is so important at a tournament, and hitting form at the right time. Having a great group stage, wonderful. But if you don't show up in this phase, in the next phase, it's not going to count for much. So if FaZe can start hitting their stride now, if they can start finding that form over the next few days, get themselves through to live finals, and that's when they really deliver their big performances, they ain't going to care about those drop maps at groups, I can guarantee you that. And so far today, they're looking pretty good, especially over the last couple of rounds.
If you are joining us late, by the way, obviously we're halfway through our first map here, but the winner of this game goes on to face off against G2 later. The winner of that is guaranteed to make our live finals on Friday, so we will have a good few teams, 4 of them in fact, going to our main stage already on day 1 of Phase 2. The other, they drop down to the lower brackets in where you have no more lives left at that point. You're losing the lower bracket, you are out. SSG, halfway into the round, As soon as you see that finger juice apply across the whole team, Tim, you know there's a bit of a move going on. Forest doing what he can, but has been held down by 2 players here. That LMG is starting to sing. Finds one, but Souls with a quick step over. Brings down Forest. And now all things are square. 4 versus 4.
SSG shaping up for a completely yellow-sided attack at the minute. There is nothing going over on the admin side. Benja did have a little look, but he's going to move away, look to support his team over yellow. He did try to make his way up Visa stairs, but KDS and FaZe in general were very aware of that potential danger. There was a little bit of an exchange there, and Benja was scared away. So he's going to move up yellow stairs now to join his team, but Fultz is in, more importantly, and getting that diffuser down. The cover is there on the rappel. Ashen gets the kill that was needed onto Souls, who tried to challenge. The diffuser's down, and FaZe have fallen apart in a matter of seconds. They've allowed that kill. They've allowed that diffuser to go down, and Benja being underneath was critical because nobody could play there, and he didn't move upstairs until that diffuser was going down, and they were sure they were in the clear.
Very, very good stuff from SSG to kick it off. Just when we were worried about FaZe's prowess on the defense, SSG show they can still most definitely attack on this map. Yeah, I love so far. Ashen's been pretty quiet. I don't actually love that. Is that true? Do I love that? I don't know. But
well,
he has had a pretty focused day so far.
I think they're very focused on the game here.
That meditation to stay calm before the game.
We've spoken about SSG's culture at length. We've spoken about, you know, the things that they do, the meditation, the teamwork, the working out. You know, everything is about what is going to deliver us that end result. And right now, they are just super focused on getting this won. They know this. If they were to go on and win this tournament, Des, this could still end up being one of their toughest games. Make no mistake about it.
Oh, anyone who has to beat FaZe is probably thinking, great,
yeah,
I've got to beat a potential winner of the tournament. Because we said it earlier on, Tim, there's not been an event that FaZe have been at where they haven't, when they've got knocked out, they've only ever been knocked out to grand finalists. That is a crazy stat that has applied through the last 4 years or so of play. Not even an exception in that sort of stat. It's absolutely unbelievable. So if you're bringing down FaZe, one, you feel like it's a bit of a good luck charm for yourself, Tim, that you can go on and go make quite a deep run at the tournament. But I think, too, more than anything else, it's a bit of belief in yourself, too, that if you can beat a team of that caliber, you can go on and achieve anything.
Well, it's one of 2 circumstances that creates that stat, and it all leads into what you're saying, Des. It's because either FaZe, and this is half of the time, FaZe just get really far in the tournament, so naturally get knocked out at like a semi-final point because they're a brilliant team, and therefore, yes, lose to a finalist. Or alternatively, they get knocked out earlier in the tournament, but yes, it takes the best team at that tournament in order to knock them out. And this is what we see, you know, routinely. We're talking since 2021. You know, this is a long time that we're looking at where FaZe have been almost at the peak of this game. Almost,
but always one step too short. SSG, just a quick point before this round really gets moving, is they've got better every year too. Obviously, they won back in 2020. They finished in lower bracket round 1, so if they lost here and then lost the next game, they'd have the same outcome as 21. Then across the next couple of years, it was lower bracket round 2, and last year, it was lower bracket round 3. So they are getting deeper and deeper into every tournament run, every SI that we get get closer to lifting that hammer once again. If we're seeing them being even close to where they were last year, Tim, they'll be extremely close to making it onto our live stage, and things will be looking up for them. Anyway, Ashen, again, has found himself going down. He's been the entry death in quite a few of these rounds, Tim. It's not been the best, especially here when you're playing on that ramp. Such a crucial bit of vertical utility for your team.
A bit of an exchange between Benja and Handy there. Benja unable to come away with the kill, and Handy definitely recognising it was his time to dip away and prevent more pressure coming in on himself. But then he just waits for his moment, manages to take down Benja. The trade is there from Fultz up above, but 3 versus 4 halfway through the round. Things are not ideal for SSG on the attack at the minute. FaZe just kind of dipping deep at the minute and holding their positions, letting SSG do the work, letting SSG come to them.
It's always been the tune, hasn't it? FaZe, when they slow things down a little bit and let SSG be the ones to get a bit antsy in that first half, was the solution. It carries on in the second half when you're on the defense. The attackers have to come to you at some point. They've got that 4 versus 3. Still got quite a lot of utility sit behind as well. 3 smokes in the back pocket of Souls. As we get towards this last 50 seconds, you hit that 30-second mark, Tim, and those smokes suddenly become a way to block out an entire entry point into the site, or at the very least, a way to guarantee panic when SSG step forward. But they're lining up. They've got a lot of utility of their own, Tim. I'm looking at smokes. I'm looking at flashes. I'm looking at a Capital. They've got everything they need to get this done.
Similar to when SSG were defending, Vitaking was all the way back in archives, but he's made his way forward at the perfect time. Unlike SSG, who were just a little bit behind that curve. Forest does manage to get the diffuser down, though, and takes up a position outside. This is not going to be easy for FaZe to clear out. It is one of the tougher retakes inside a siege. Forest has got a real opportunity here, but no! KDS manages to see him through the angle, takes him. As I'm saying, it's going to be difficult, FaZe. They just make it look easy.
They're hitting
and get the disable.
They're hitting some ridiculous shots this game, aren't they? I just feel like every time they're swinging out, SSG don't even get a chance to see the player.
You couldn't see a thing of KDS from there. No, he's just in his Neo or something, and it tells him where he is. I mean, you know where you're looking. You know they're going to be in behind the boxes on one of the sides.
Yeah. I did think to myself, they've still got a smoking back pocket from Souls here as well, so the option being you could smoke out one side and force them on the other. Not that it was required at all because the shots were there. This 2K from Handy for me was the big one though, Tim, because not only have you got rid of the Ram, you've also got rid of the Jackal with the ITA secondary. So where do most of those verticals come from? Quite simply, they don't.
I think the assumption from Benja there might have been that I've done a lot of damage to him. He's probably gone back down Spiral. And really, maybe more tracking was needed, maybe a little bit of drone work, because, yeah, he's just giving himself away for free then, and he's going in there looking to do that vertical, and it's something that SSG have then lost. Like I said, FaZe just had, it felt like a bit of a better read on the pulse of the round, on the heartbeat of how things were going, because Vitaking was in the same position as Forest all the way back inside of Archives, but as SSG realised that and went for a similar play, we're going to rush in here, we're going to get this done with 3v3 on site. Vitaking was already moving up. The call had already been made from FaZe that, look, there's nothing coming rear side, get yourself back in here. And so they did, and it worked out well for FaZe ultimately. SSG, yes, they get a plant down, but it was largely meaningless in the end. So 4-4 on the scoreboard. I woke up this morning just knowing this was going to be a good game, and, well, it is. It's everything that we'd hoped for.
It's funny because a couple of years ago, I looked at this sort of match and been like, oh, SSG ain't that team, really. They're not going to be able to stop FaZe. It's, I wouldn't say a foregone conclusion, but you expect the outcome is that FaZe would walk away the winner. Whether it's a 2-0 or a 2-1 is up for debate. How close the match might go, another one. But this is one of those games I've looked at and thought, with the slower start FaZe have had to this tournament, how SSG have been playing, how they've warmed up over the last couple of years in terms of tournament results, especially here at SI, it just feels like it could be one of those games we look at the end of this and go, wow, what a series that turned out to be.
Forest is one to keep an eye on through this round. On the blitz this time, always a focal point for the attackers. It's always part of that clearance. It's always part of creating the space you need for the round. But Forest, 2-7, a little bit quiet so far in this game, and definitely one of the players that could, you know, give SSG that kickstart. If he can just get a little bit more going, if they can just get a little bit more out of him, he could be a difference maker. When we look across the team of FaZe, much more even, 4, 5, 6, 8 kills, you know, all making their contributions.
Sniffing themselves around. We always talk about this being such a key entry point to this top floor. Even if you're not someone's trying to use it to actually push in, it's the threat that it provides onto the defensive side. And just like this, Benja going against that, he started to make his march on forward. Right idea, sees his man, but can't bring him down. And Vitaking pops his head up. SSG get the entry. And surely now Forest starts thinking about a burst forward.
He does, and can he get his kill? That was just in the... That was really close for him, just losing his life there, but he did manage to flash out the player. Ashen gets a kill, will be traded out, but this was a really unfortunate soul. And Handy, they just get caught out in a crossover, and they're going to take one of their own down. 4 versus 2, but look at Benja and Forest, super low health now. Those two need to be very careful, especially with the Nitro being primed underneath. KDS is going to be nowhere near where he needs to be, and so FaZe, 30 seconds left to go. It's not going to be easy for them to hold up.
Sees the vertical and Benja's gone.
That's the problem.
I mean, you're now at a neutral point, Souls, after the team kill. Forest also down. They may yet be able to recover this, and my God, is it going to feel like a massive loss for SSG? You had a good start and got the entry. There was a team kill to help you through as well. You were in control, and FaZe have wrestled it back away from the North American side. J9O can do nothing but look on with despair here in a 1 versus 2. FaZe are going to hold on, but that really feels like it should have been an SSG round, Tim, given how it started.
I was planning not to mention Souls and his clutch ability. I thought, you know, we'll maybe leave it. We'll see what happens later in the tournament. But you just can't avoid it with this man. Souls is one of the best clutch players that we have inside of Siege. Factual.
Yes.
He's just absolutely unreal in those positions. Whether it be 1vx, whether it be 2vx like that, just brilliant stuff. His movement in those situations, his ability to read what the attackers are going to do is unbelievable. He was just ahead of them at every step there. He only had about 15 HP himself, and he's gone through, got a 2k, and all of a sudden your 2v3 is a 2v1, and it's a big, big problem for SSG. And it's a shame for them, Des, because their attack was really nice. What happened was, for that top floor clearance, Benja went and opened Cubby Wall, and he waited to peek until Forest pushed long desk with the blitz. So the smoke goes down, spiral and long desk. The blitz starts to push in, and that's when Benja looks. Because look, everybody's looking the other way because the smoke's gone down. It was so well worked by SSG, and then they get the other kill on the other side, the two coming in, Ashen and Forest. It was brilliant stuff to get that top floor clearance, and they've got to be kicking themselves. They lost HP along the way, but then FaZe were just able to take full advantage of that.
Talk about timing to get the down on the blitz as well. Just as you get flashed, Forrest is put on his backside. Wonderful stuff. And I know they've had the timeout there, and you may be looking at it and thinking, okay, why the hell are we taking the timeout? We've just won the round. As we said at the end of it, it really feels like SSG let that one get away from them, and we would be at a 5-4 to SSG. In which case, you're saying after that quarter of those 3 rounds, that quarter of the game of regulation, this is an SSG quarter, and FaZe start to feel a little bit nervous. And no doubt a lot of things being spotted there by the team, by the coach, to have that timeout, have that conversation, and get things course corrected in time for these final 3 rounds. Here we go, though. FaZe, again, looking at least pretty dug in. Say looking towards that clash. Spoke about it earlier on, too, when we saw it coming out of SSG. It caused real bother. And to be fair, they did find a way through FaZe. It was Vitter rappelling in through that smoke canister and shooting the clash in the back. Otherwise, it was an absolute nightmare. We've also seen it played up here on this main corridor, where for SSG, we'd argue Timid won in the round. So already quite a lot of effect being shown by the operator. It's always that debate when teams play the clash, you know, just how much impact is it having? I think as we've seen these 2 rounds on this map that's been used so far, extremely high impact, if not round winning.
The position of the clash, it's a point, the round exploded and I got cut off from making it where SSG were using it. If you keep an eye on the clash, it's going to tell you a lot of what's going on in FaZe's mind at that point in time. Where do they think the push is coming from? Because you're going to want the clash facing up, fronting up to that push. So if Vitter over on yellow, it suggests that they think SSG are going to be pushing from yellow. If he's moved over to admin, it means they've recognised what's going on over there. At the minute, he is dug in on yellow. He's going to be looking, but they need to be cautious because on the opposite side of the map, Forest is having a look at admin. So this could be a double-sided push from SSG. I always like to see that. Don't be too one-dimensional. Put a little bit of pressure on either side and make teams think, because it can make them move that utility away from where it is causing you a problem.
Trying to work his way around the mute jammers, if nothing else, while picking off what utility he can. So far, it's been that default cam that you saw up above. Not regularly too impactful, as it is quite a high traffic area on this top floor. FaZe no doubt playing around here a lot. No one gone down too early, Tim, and this might be one of the slowest rounds that we've had so far in terms of entries. 2 minutes have gone and no one's died.
So we see it from the clash now. He's moving across. He was stuck inside a CEO watching that window, but FaZe have recognised now the push is coming from admin side. They tried to challenge onto the Blackbeard. KDS not able to get anything going there. So SSG starting to take ground now, starting to move forward. They've got themselves into long desk, into vending. They're finding kills. J90 with a double Ashen onto Cyber, and FaZe just haven't been able to deal with this aggression from the admin side. As Fultz takes down Vitter. Can Souls do anything about a flawless round? No, he cannot. Final kill comes in, and again, really nice from SSG. They took what was given to them. Admin was left undefended as the clash had gone over to yellow, thinking that's where the push was from. Vitter then spent too long inside of CEO. There was nobody yellow, there was nobody pushing window. He should have been moving over sooner to be ready for that challenge coming in from the admin side, but by the time he gets over there, it's too little too late, and SSG are already dropping kills.
For me, Tim, it actually was a repeat of what you said in the prior round about Benja. when FaZe, all of them are distracted looking towards the smokes at top spiral. You just saw it on your screen there. Now they're so focused on the march that is coming up from admin side on towards the Blackbeard. Who is it that swings for spiral when all attention is elsewhere? It's J9O, and he nets 2 kills, and that can be enough to get a game going. We speak about the success rate of finding an entry and what that does to your odds of winning a round. How about getting a 2K super early on? SSG so far really good at drawing FaZe's attention to one part of the map, normally where there's a shield, and I don't blame them. Shields are absolutely terrifying. And then it's just one player that makes a difference by sneaking in undetected and doing enough damage to get the round moving for SSG. Things all square to him at 5-5. I really feel like this is going to turn into a barn burner of a series.
The thing is for FaZe as well, Des, that's very difficult to deal with because the pressure that they're responding to elsewhere when Benja looks for that backstab, it's not phantom pressure, it's really there. And it's because it's just good timing from SSG. They get everything in position and then they create a lot of noise over here and hurt you from here. But if you focus on Benja then and think, oh, right, no, that's just to create a distraction, it's not. They're going to hurt you because there's a blitz coming in. There's going to be a big problem. So it's SSG doing a really good job of just splitting FaZe's attention and taking full advantage of it. And at the minute, it feels like FaZe, a lot of the time, don't kind of know which way to look. You know, we look over there, we're going to dive from Benja. We look at Benja, we're going to dive from over there. And it's creating a real problem. Look at this as well. Forest getting very aggressive on the top floor clearance. Love to see this, looking to chase down any roamers that are there, force them out of position.
For now, it's clearing through a hell of a lot of utility. Largely ignored. I think that pressure built up so quick. The FaZe are like, yeah, cool, we're out. And it's just gone through and cleared out the entirety of that top floor. FaZe wanting to give nothing away. And what I actually love is a little bit of respect being shown by FaZe there. Think back to that first half. One of my main criticisms that was coming in against SSG was they were leaving roamers out when Benja was out, when Ashen was out. And FaZe would just realize it and hard punish that player that was by themselves. And FaZe here, rather than going, well, we've committed a bunch of mute jammers upstairs and we've dropped other utility down, they've said, look, we know there's a blitz on side now. We do not want to get ourselves pushed, isolated, and down to a 5 versus 4 too early on. So instead, they've dropped away and said, look, if SSG want it, fine. The utility's gone. Don't worry about that. We'd rather have the gun alive. So I think just really good discipline and respect being shown by the Brazilian side here.
In 70% of the rounds so far, the entry kill has been decisive, so that's another thing for you to keep an eye on at home. Where's that entry kill going, and how do the team follow it up? Look at this Cyber just keeping that distance beautifully. Yes, he's lost his life, but you would trade that for a blitz. He was on the mute, his jammers and utility are already used. That is really good stuff from Cyber. It removes a huge threat.
And look how close he was to getting rid of Ashen as well. He gets that 2 there, the round is done essentially. It's almost unfortunate for him that he didn't, but I think we all know shotgun ranges are absolutely ridiculous, so I'm glad that SSG managed to get a 1-for-1 here. A very close 1-for-1 breaking out. King and Benja exchanging a couple of shots, but look at this, Tim. He's pincered in, and this is what I said about FaZe earlier, Tim. They were respectful about getting isolated, and that's exactly what King is.
He has to die here, and they can't allow him to take any with him, and they do that fantastically well. Nice teamwork. Get the flashers there, get them in, find the kill. 4 versus 3, but 15 seconds there's, as you say, time becoming the factor, and SSG are having to push from one direction here. The smoke is going to slow them down. J9O could be crucial on the backside from Yellow Stairs, but no, he gets taken down by KDS, and SSG, they fall like a house of cards in round 11. One after another. FaZe, super cool, super calm. They'd done their job, they'd wasted their time, and they get the round done. They will have the chance to win this in regulation, and yet another round goes in favor of that entry kill.
Is it another timeout? Yes, it is. SSG bringing this one in. Let's listen in. And we've got the quietest coach in the world. I didn't really have to jack my program feed up there to hear what was being said. Extremely quiet behind them there, not offering to run an awful lot. But essentially saying, look, react to what you see is the key thing. I mean, that was number one, but more than also talking about when we go to OT, obviously believing they'll get there. They win this round and we're there. Tim talking about the plan for the basement there and really trying to guide Fultz in that as well. So not a lot you can hear, I imagine, at home as well either. It was extremely quiet, but that was the main bits that I managed to take away from it, Tim.
Just seeing that fantastic play from Cyber on Spiral Stairs. Dealing with the blitz is no mean feat. It's no easy thing to do, and he just kept that distance perfectly so that he didn't get hit by the flash. It was wonderful stuff from him. So 6-5, FaZe now in the lead. SSG running them the full distance on their map pick and one of their favourite maps in Consulate. Certainly a marker being put down here by SSG one way or another to say, FaZe, you're not going to have this all your own way. And looking in towards Labs, of course, as our next matchup, SSG's pick. Honestly, I can already see this one going to 3.
I hope so. I really hope so.
If FaZe managed to lock this down, still winnable for SSG.
I mean, Labs feels like a bit of a cursed map at the best of times for FaZe, given how last year went out for them in the Six Invitational Grand Final. 6-1 up, only to lose it. A reminder, actually, as well, Tim, of course, we saw it come out on social media yesterday. The new documentary, it's just shy of an hour long, but it recounts what led to that grand final. I've only watched about half of it so far. I need to watch the rest of it later today when I've got time, but I've really enjoyed the first watch of it. So if you are looking for something to do between games today or perhaps later on tonight, please do go and watch that documentary. It is a fantastic watch so far, and I can't wait to see. I guess spoilers already know the outcome, but I can't wait to see the second half of it as well, to see what's said and what happens. And getting that inside life into the teams and their communication, what they're speaking about in-game as well as out of it, is just super valuable, insightful.
Okay then, round 12 is underway. We're a minute in. SSG not really established inside of the map yet. Just moving across that top floor now. Forest is in on the blitz, looking for that roam clearance again. We've got the Twitch drones just raining around, taking out that utility and clearing a path for him. Also just providing any intel if there's anybody ahead of him, and there is. Let me hand it on the mirror if my silhouette knowledge doesn't fool me.
Hopefully it's not. It has been a slower start, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that as well for SSG. It's again, during the timeout, it was a very small snippet we heard, but, you know, reacting to what you see here, relying on the drones, taking action based on that. My only concern is they did that a little bit in the last round. It was quite slow and composed, and they ran out of time, and it could prove to be more the same here. Forest now knocking on the door, has got Ashen with him, a C4, taking down neither, but definitely doing some damage to both. Almost a scary moment there. Still 2 more, that's about 3 more C4s. Sat in back pockets, him a lot of room for damage. Another one comes out. Not going to find Forest, but the constant threat is absolutely huge. Cyber's now on his backside. Ashen trying to find a new way in towards the site here. He's getting some shots down on the back, and Souls is down and out.
This is good from SSG. I was a little bit concerned that they were banging the head against the wall there, trying to get in, but no, they've been able to brute force it. KDS and Cyber did everything they could to hold on, but 45 seconds, there's an opportunity to get the diffuser down, and as I say that, Forest will do just that. He is almost certainly going to confirm this, and does. Now then, FaZe, you are fighting to get this one done in regulation to avoid those extra rounds. Vitheking manages to find Ashen. 30 seconds left for him and Handy. Will the Nitro find its mark? No, it does not. Going to have to drop back to site at some point, surely.
He's got 1 HP, Forest.
He's just trying to hassle them at this point. He's just trying to give them something to think about, just to force them onto that back foot. 11 seconds left. Very unlikely that FaZe are able to come away with this, but Handy manages to get one. They're going to have to get onto the diffuser soon. They have not done it. They will run out of time, and we're going to overtime, Des.
Nothing to be said here. This one is done. It's well played by SSG. Balancing the challenges around the diffuser, around the site itself, to keep FaZe busy and leave them with nowhere near enough time to get that one done. We said it might be a barn burner, Tim, and Map 1 is starting just that way. FaZe start things off on the defense, it's worth stressing. A reminder of how this works, again, if you pick the map, in this case FaZe have the other side pick in regulation what side they start on, and then when we get to overtime, the team that pick the map get to choose where they start. And I think quite naturally, given how Consulate often shapes up to beat him, you'd pick the defense, and that's exactly where FaZe are going to start. Kicking things off in the basement, then we'll switch sides and SSG will get to defend, and then for potentially round 15, if we need it, FaZe will be back on the defense. What we're saying, Professor Tim, I see you looking at the numbers. What they're telling you?
Well, yeah, I'm just having a look. Garage is the site. I mean, naturally, Garage is the site that FaZe have won twice.
Can I ask, can you actually see anything on that screen? Because it is so dark.
Yeah.
You know what you remind me of? You remind me of my missus.
To be
Her
fair,
phone brightness is always on 0. She's like, look at this. I'm like, I can't see your screen, love. What are you doing?
I have turned my brightness down because the battery's a little bit low on my iPad. I thought I'd put it on charge last night, but I think it wasn't quite plugged in properly.
I see. Okay.
Behind the scenes for you there, the boring stuff. My iPad's not quite as charged as it might need to.
It turns out both loves in my life, my missus and you, like your screen's really dark. That's all I've taken away from this.
It would usually be a little bit higher. I'm just saving that battery. But yeah, so far we've got 3 sites to look at for FaZe. They've got the garage, which they're going to go to now. No surprise, 100% defense in their defensive half. We've got Piano and Exposition, 50%, 1 win of each, and then we've got Top Floor, which we're not going to see here because they didn't win it once. So SSG won it both times. I would imagine we're going to see FaZe first go to Garage. If they get the win here, the next one is going to be Piano and Exposition. That's really interesting because let's, for argument's sake, say SSG get their defense as well. We go to 7-7, we go to 15, and we go to a 50-50 site. We go to a site that both teams have won. However, we might not even get that far, as Ashen has managed to pick up Cyber. And as I said, a lot of these rounds have been following the trend of the entry kill. That is a really big start, taking down the mute and getting them the advantage.
A Thermite getting an entry onto a mute?
Why not?
What world are we in?
Why not?
In the first 30 seconds or so, it's craziness, Tim. Because if Cyber had got the killing towards Ashen, you probably actually find that it's SSG who start to feel in hot water. Yeah, you've got the hard breach gadgets available for the Capitale, but main breach probably ain't getting opened up to any great effect. You've also got the hatch to worry about. That could have been disastrous. But instead, they've got rid of Cyber. They've taken a C4 offline. That's only a good start for SSG as long as they keep this attack moving and don't stall out and find themselves running out of time again. They're in a great spot to take an attacking round in OT.
Forest is going to be clearing out through tellers for the time being. We've got vertical work going on above.
Oh, they've got another Tim. KDS is gone. It's a castle. It's somewhat disposable, but at the same time, it's a player. You don't want the players off your team, Tim. SSG surely get this one closed out. They've got so much time to work with. I'm only nervous because we've seen a couple of rounds go against them when they've had the numbers advantage. Admittedly, very rarely was it a very cozy, settled down 5v3 as it is now, where SSG have got time to react.
SSG have got so long as well. They've got a lot of map control now. They've got a minute to work on. The blitz is relocating. You can see just ahead of you there onto yellow stairs.
No.
Andy does manage to find Benja. That is a big pickup for FaZe. It maybe gets them something going, but Bitter King gets Ashen. They're standing up. FaZe are fighting back. 2 versus 3 though, as Fultz is there for the kill onto Souls. The diffuser's going down, Des. FaZe are going to be working against the clock. Fultz onto Bitter King as he tries to get back into sight. It's all up to Handy, and he's less than half health at the moment. Nitro goes out. He hears the blitz off to his left. He finds a freebie. Forest, where are you looking, my friend?
Oh, and he always gets a second.
This is winnable. 1v2, Des.
So close to getting Fultz if he kills him. I actually think this round is doable, Tim. But I think missing those shots with this fire burning out, it's pretty cooked. Just like his legs might be after charging in through that fire. He's got about 15 seconds, or 15 HP to his name and 15 seconds on the clock. This one feels pretty done, Tim. No chance to get both kills and get this diffuser stuck at the same time. SSG will surely take the round here. There is now no time remaining. It is done. He might have got a 3K, but so too did Fultz. And FaZe now find themselves a round away from losing this map. SSG. And there's the noise I was expecting.
I think Ashen might have woken up.
I think so.
Look, SSG played that really well. So when it went from 1v3 to 1v2, 30 seconds left to go, you look at that, and we said at the time, this becomes winnable, even on half health. If Andy gets one of the kills quicker, then maybe he's got an opportunity to do it. And that was the point where SSG, they played it really smart. It was smart siege. They got themselves to opposite sides of the site, and they just tucked in. They knew all we have to do is survive 15, 20 seconds here. It doesn't matter if one of us takes a death, so long as we are pulling Handy in opposite directions. And there, with the one out on yellow stairs, absolutely no option really for Handy to be able to go for that kill. So well played, SSG. As soon as they go from 1v3 to 1v2, they make the smart decision. They get themselves into the perfect positions, and they lock out the round. They are 1 round away from taking FaZe's map away from them. And looking back at SSG's half on the defense, it was 50-50 on Garage.
Woo! I mean, also thinking about it, this is exactly what during the timeout we had the coach speaking to the boys about, was, right, cool, you know, call out during the timeout, was saying to them, right, hold on a second, Talk about basement here. Fultz, I want you to do X, Y, and Z. Here's how I want it to be focused. So we've seen a real mixed bag of timeouts from coaches throughout the week where sometimes it has been very tactical. Others, it has been as simple as get the vibes up, because sometimes just reminding the boys, look, you're not speaking to each other can be enough. But there was some more tactical instruction. For this site in particular, SSG are going to be cooking something.
It's an interesting choice because it's the site that they won only once. It was 50-50. Top floor, they won twice with that great clash play on the second time, if you remember, from Forest in at Vending Machine. J9O getting the triple at top spiral. It was really good from them. But maybe they feel like they've just burnt their lives up on that top floor. They've, you know, done both plans and they've worked, but maybe they don't have much more and think FaZe might have them sort of figured out. So we're going to go down to the basement. Cyber already in the building, looking to soften things up with the book.
Ooh, okay. Time is of the essence. It's one thing I'll stress. Both of these teams have lost rounds throughout this game to the clock. Sometimes it's down to a couple of seconds. Sometimes it's been down to far more than that. But the point more being that with a very, woo! Like making a flashy entrance, Tim, is the way to do it. More than anything else, I think SSG have got quite a lot of time waste potential here with that Kai, with the 2 Brow, with the smokes on side, a couple of C4s. They can waste a hell of a lot of time here. So FaZe have got to move at a bit of pace. Key thing for me, though, we haven't seen anyone getting picked up on the roam. Yet we've got a Jackal and a Blitz on the other side. FaZe expected to find players around the map, and they have not.
SSG are defending this super deep at the minute. There's nobody in the garage side whatsoever. They're all back towards Spiral and Archives. They're obviously expecting a lot of pressure come from there. And it's fair because we haven't seen the breach getting opened by either team, really. It hasn't been a focus. SSG did it once and got a plant on it, but ultimately lost the round. So there has been much more pressure coming from Spiral, from Security Corridor, from Visa Stairs. It's been more of a focal point. Yellow Stairs is going to be used by Handy. He gets himself down there on the Blitz. He can clear out the barbed wire, but that would normally signify his presence. But honestly, SSG probably not in a position to even hear this Stairs. They're too deep, but they managed to find him. Action with a beautifully placed smoke, and now SSG can take that as a cue to start pushing forward and reclaiming a little bit of ground.
Still got the smoke to play behind, of course, out of C4. So yeah, the utility game is looking a little bit light here for SSG with 30 seconds to go. FaZe play this well. They play it at that longer range, the superior scopes, the guns, everything. It can be there. Smoke is down there inside of the site, but they've got to recover that diffuser, Tim. And right now, it's fully smoked out. Ashen goes aggressive, pays the price. Benja back the other way. It's a 3 versus 2, Tim. They could hold on.
They're going to try and get the plant down. Souls, he's going to stick this. The cover is there from Bitterking. He's checking every possible angle that he can, but Fultz gets the planter, and SSG are on the retake. 3v1, surely it's a matter of time, and Fultz rains death from above to take Bitterking out. All that's left is to disable the diffuser, and SSG, they lock out Consulate and go 1-0.
Wow, what a performance from SSG. Not forgetting again that FaZe were 9-0 on this map, Tim. They've just been handed their first loss. They aren't going to break it into double digits. That's it. And SSG, as we said, Tim, could be really cooking something here today. An 8-6 victory is a statement. Don't take it as anything else. We'll go to a short break, and when we come back, we'll break this game down.
Available now.
Boston is below freezing at the moment, and I haven't even been outside. It's just ice in the veins of the North American roster. SSG looks so impressive, Jack.
Yeah, they were so good inside of that map. I thought their team play genuinely was so good, and it started all the way from round one here. And we saw FaZe get off to actually quite a good start, Rob. They managed to get themselves a 3-3 attack split, which I think was maybe a little bit unexpected. I think they got there by trying to rush, trying to play a little bit more unpredictable. We obviously know that SSG are a really big team into the counter-analysis. So when FaZe were rushing, when FaZe were doing things a little bit differently, I think it did throw SSG off guard. But they had to regroup, and they managed to get their own 3-3 attack split to take us to overtime and then ultimately see it out.
And that's the thing as well. A map of Consulate, we expected it to be a little defender-sided, but it was ultimately round number 13 where SSG got an early kill on attack and converted that round. Albeit it was still close, they did a phenomenal job, and SSG from that point on looked very confident. One thing we noted throughout the entirety of this match, the shields, they're just everywhere. Yeah, we saw 14 different shields played in 14 rounds, Rob, and that wasn't just one shield or the other. We saw various Clash. We saw 4 times we saw Clash, 7 times the Blitz, 2 times the Monty, and 1 time the Blackbeard as well. And it was absolutely incredible. Both teams utilizing them, especially the Clash play from SSG that I know we'll come on to. Another critical factor in this one, I know Tim and Derry were both talking about it on the cast. The entry stats were very heavily skewed in the favor of being able to convert them. Yeah, absolutely. As soon as you get the entry in Rainbow Six Siege, you literally put yourself into a 5 versus 4, but very often when there's a shield on the board, guns up, that can be a 5 versus 3, and you can just play the mathematical numbers from there. Well, we did definitely give the props to FaZe on their attacking half. However, SSG, they backed in on the defensive half. We've got Leo to help us break down one of those rounds.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight SSG's incredible teamwork, and we're gonna do this on a defender setup. Now we're on top floor, bomb site, on Consulate, and they're facing an admin take. So this is for you guys, next time you face an admin take, how you should defend against it. As you can see, usually on top floor, you've got 4 entry points. You've got the meeting door here, you've got the spiral stairs, you've got the yellow stairs, the CEO window, and technically a 5th entry point here with the meeting bridge. Now, how do you defend against that? 2 players in meeting, 1 close range on the doorway, 1 supporting him and also holding the meeting bridge. Then you've got a clash here, or shield, playing the corridor to burn information, burn time, and at the same time a crossfire setup with him in spiral stairs. And last but not least, 1 player scoring the flank, right? From this yellow stairs, from the CEO window, and technically from bathroom. Now we look at the footage, as you can see here, we have the crossfire, we have the guy watching the back, and we have our 2 players here in meeting. And the first key to the bomb site is Ashen, right? From meeting bridge, as you can see, we have a Ying there that's gonna send a Candela to start the execution onto meeting, and he's gonna make him move to get the pick, and that's the opening kill. Now look at Fultz's reaction. Fultz instantly goes aggressive, kills the diffuser, and as soon as his teammate is dead, he's gonna turn around and go aggressive with his shotgun to prevent the Ying from pushing deeper. And that's exactly what he does and gets the pick here. Now, as soon as he's done that, at the same time, as you can see here, Clash is pressured by 3 players, and they're set up in a perfect crossfire for J9O to come, replace Benja, who's just died, and set up this crossfire to get the kills. As you can see here, J9O from the Flash will get 1 kill, 2 kills, and a 3rd kill. All of this supported by Forest that's burning time here as the baiter. Amazing play from SSG, great teamwork. That's SSG for you guys, and now they're going on their 2nd map after a short break.
There are many great players who are not champions, who have never lifted the hammer, who might never lift the hammer. And it's not because they aren't good enough, they just might not put in what it requires to really get there. Because they're the goods and not the greats.
There is not 1 hour of the day where your mind can be off siege. You have to sacrifice everything to win.
If you were to win any event and call it quits, it would probably be the Six Invitational.
Chegar no topo uma vez, então assim foi um momento de muita emoção.
The Invitational is, the kind of the final checkpoint, the final test. It meant the world to me.
History will be made here because for the first time on home soil, a Brazilian team will win a world championship.
The only thing that matters is the 4 guys next to you, your coach, and the screen in front of you.
No one ever really just goes and wins. You have to go through the pain, the hardships.
FaZe are exploding!
You have to go all in, that's it.
Quem perdeu foi nós tudo ali, e a gente que vai virar isso aqui agora.
Você tem que confiar muito no seu time.
Não vamos desistir, não vamos desistir.
Baixa demais, porra!
When you truly want to become the best, you truly have to believe that you are, because you have to play it 100%.
The North Americans are getting it done on home soil, and they don't even have the crowd buff yet. I'm not just talking about this matchup. I'm talking about B-Stream as well. That's right, Unwanted are 1-0 up in their series against W7M. The Brazilians right now, they're on the ropes, and I mean that literally. This is quite intense. We are not yet out of the upper bracket. Leo, this is huge.
Yeah, this is huge, and I know we've been, talking a little bit on NA, but let's be real, like they've got a lot of potential in their teams at this event.
It's scary, isn't it, Jack? Because having come into this event, NA, well, most events, NA seem third in the regional conversation. They never feel like they take that #1 spot. But here today, they're kickstarting with the right start.
I was about to say, I wouldn't say that too loudly around here, Rob, but yeah, certainly. I thought SSG were genuinely excellent, but I'm actually, as we look ahead to Labs, I'm looking for improvement in FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan usually are unflappable in a lot of their situations, but we saw nerves coming out of them. We saw them misplaying in 3v3s, 2v2s, the things that make them so strong normally, they misplayed inside of Consulate, and it was just an overtime loss. If they can improve on those things, if they can actually play with some conviction and with some authority, then they'll do well.
I will say one thing though, before coming into this matchup, this was a 9-win streak for FaZe. This was their best map by far, and I will say this, SSG dominated them on this. I know it's overtime, but how many rounds did FaZe win when they were in the 2v4 and 3v5 setup?
Yeah.
At least 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, two that I can remember, maybe even 3.
So strategically right now, Spacestation is the better team, and now they're going on their map pick, on Labs.
It's kind of scary, not going to lie. It's nice to see that they're getting up in the series. But before we get underway with Labs, we need to take a look back. That's right. We've got the trifecta of the 1K Kings. We've got Cyber, yet 7 kills away. He was 13 heading into map 1, which is a little bit of a concern, Jack, considering he only managed to get 6.
Yeah, he's overtaken Palu as well in terms of that leaderboard. Like, you don't want to be second to anything, but if he can get over 1K kills, it's still a monumental achievement at the Six Invitational.
And I will say this right now, Cyber, for the longest of times, has been the savior of FaZe. He needs to step up right now, not only for his record, but also for FaZe to make it further in the upper bracket.
Well, this is quite scary if you're a FaZe fan. It's well and truly NA's time. SSG are up 1-0 in the series as we head to our casters, Ace and Des.
Thank you very much, Rob. Indeed, it's really weird, Tim, how those top 3 players that are all in the 1K club or getting close to it are Brazilian.
Funny that, isn't it?
Weird
that. It's as if they're quite good at the game.
Bad?
However, maybe not good enough today, Des.
Maybe not. I mean, 6 kills on that first map tells you enough, Tim. They definitely fell short back on Consulate. It did require some magic out of SSG for 3Ks, 2 1v1s. But what matters is they got the job done and they broke that 9-map win streak. Labs is going to be a good one. It's one of my favorite maps to watch. It's got probably some bad memories on it for FaZe, given how last year went down. But they've got to get it done here, Tim. They've got to send us through to that 3rd map. Otherwise, SSG starting off FaZe 2 with a 2-0 against one of the tournament favorites. What a statement that would be.
Let's not forget as well who the loser of this will face. FaZe in the... I don't know, is that a little sight?
Do we know who they face in the lower bracket?
I do know who they face in the lower bracket, Des.
Who's that?
Liquid.
Ooh!
That could be tasty.
Help and hurt the heart.
Bad day for the Brazilians, potentially. If FaZe drop down to the lower bracket, they will go against Liquid, and so we will absolutely guaranteed have one of those 2 teams going home before the last stage.
Wow. I mean, on paper, you look at it now and say Liquid would be expected, but you just never know when it comes to Brazil versus Brazil.
Never know when it comes to... It's not just Brazil versus Brazil. When it comes to FaZe versus Liquid, there have been some tasty matchups over the years.
Reminder that these bans are flipped as well. If blue team starts in the defense at the minute, there is a visual bug in terms of which team is banning what. So these are 2 bans out of SSG, the Deimos and the Mira. The Blackbeard was banned away by FaZe.
We'll have our final defender ban coming on through, having a little bit of a think about it, maybe a little bit of a chat about it here. Our FaZe as to exactly what they're going to do with it. We'll get locked in now, either way. And we'll see. It's going to be his army. Yes. Easily the most banned operator. I'm not even bothering to pull up the stats.
I was looking at the stats.
I'm not even bothering to pull up the stats. I'm going to confidently, with my chest, say the most banned operator at Six Invitational 2025.
By a country mile as well, it's probably worth stating. I gave you that stat the other day about presence being when an operator is available, how often are they picked? plus the rounds that they're banned away for, what does that number sit at? She's like 30% clear of Monty. I think she's like 80% plus. Monty's down at 50%.
Yeah.
So while Monty himself has been, I wouldn't say, like, I actually think he's in a really good spot at the minute where he doesn't feel too oppressive, but I think that's somewhat masked by the fact that Blackbeard exists in the game now, and teams, as you're seeing here from Forest, still love running things like the Blitz. It does give a good balance around the number of shields, but his army is still up there as probably our most banned, I'd say, across the last 12 months. Like, not even just this tournament, it has been a staple ban, even after the nerfs.
Let's get into it then. Round 1, FaZe kickoff on the defense of Nighthaven Labs. That will have been their choice, as it was SSG's map choice. They, I can't stress this enough, need a good start. Like you say, you know, we talk about SI 2024 final and Nighthaven Labs, and forget all that. You know, FaZe will come in here confident that they can get a win. I'm sure that, you know, ghosts have been laid to rest. It is what it is. You move on, you win some, you lose some. Right now, they need to be winning some, because SSG are going to be moving on to take that spot against G2 later on today. A reminder of the stakes. The winner goes on to play G2 in the next upper bracket round later on today. The winner of which will guarantee themselves one way or another getting onto the main stage. So it is really, really big for both of these teams to try and get through to that matchup with G2 and FaZe. They've got to cling on.
Being on the main stage of Six Invitational is what every player dreams of, whether you're just getting started out, whether you've been playing for a number of years, like those 3 players we were speaking about being in or near that 1,000-kill club. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone wants to lift the hammer. So to be able to do so on day 1 of Phase 2 will be an absolute... Oh, you'll have a fantastic week off the back of it. You'll be buzzing going in towards Friday for the weekend, Tim. But it does mean getting through this game first and winning that one later. Cyber, there's 1 of 7. Benja taken down super early on here. It's the Dokkaebi that's been removed too by the Boss G, no less.
SSG, I think, maybe just letting things slip a little bit there. Cyber able to, granted he's on the vigil, may well have been keeping himself cloaked and off the radar, but they were unaware of his position and he gets a free kill. But the diffuser's going to go down. Forest has walked in with the Monty. This has been a super simple plan. Open up the breach, walk in with the Monty, put the diffuser down. What's the problem, Des?
So under the cover with that smoke being down and the glass standing over shoulder, not really much you can do. You look towards the C4 for that, but there were none available to toss in. And SSG, just like I'm back on Consulate, Tim, are starting out strong in round 1. They've got themselves this one comfortably in the bag, it looks like, unless Vidaking and Souls can really pull off some magic against the Glass and a Monty. And of course, Fultz, who's there for good measure. Looks like SSG, the North American side, will start things off pretty strong. FaZe back to the drawing board, I'm afraid. That Soulless Reliance, I think, really bit them there. Not quite scanning down to his bottom right corner. Didn't see the Monty with the plank going down. And they probably assumed that there was a bit of a bait plank going on, just didn't find time to react.
SSG have just seen an opportunity there, and they've taken it, and it was brilliant play from them. And honestly, I think FaZe fans out there watching that are going to be a little bit worried. FaZe should be playing well on this defensive half. We said coming into today, top 5 defensive team at the tournament. Nighthaven Labs, basement, it is very, very defendable, and they should have been winning that out. Cyber gets himself one to open things up. I think Benja was maybe aware of Handy, and they've just used Handy as a little bit of bait. Keep the vigil off the radar. Benja takes a risk in trying to move into challenge pillar and gets taken down by Cyber, who, as a reminder, once he hits 7 kills, that will be the magic 1,000 kills in Six Invitational competition across the years. 6 more to go for Cyber, but I tell you what, Des, it could be a very bittersweet moment for him. He may well get it done this game and still find his team dropping down to the lower bracket. And I won't put words in anybody's mouth, but I know if it was me,
You'd rather go the upper bracket.
I would choose the win, and I'll worry about the 1,000 kills later.
Completely agree, but sadly those 2 things may line up, as you say, Tim. We'll see how it goes as the map plays out. Into round 2 we go. It's top floor, right on the basement this time round. Other end of the map. Now, one of those, I was looking at the analysis from Leo in the break earlier on, Tim, during that desk, because he was bringing up the telestration segment. Very well done, as always.
He does quite well with that, doesn't he?
I was talking about these multiple entry points on towards Consulate. It's a very similar story here, where there are a few points of ingress that you've really got to be focusing on. Yep. Very commonly, you'll see a shield sent up through garage and warehouse to try and take control of balcony. And we've seen so many teams do the dance of death, and there's army that's planted there with Mirror being deployed, of course, both those operators taken away, so it will be a bit easier to do. Before we can think about all that, though, there's 2 main walls that you want opened up, the IT wall and also the connector wall.
And SSG are going to be doing exactly that. They've done a great job at surrounding FaZe when they've been attacking, at creating those multiple pressure points. We've spoken about it a few times. Push multiple angles at the same time as a team, and they get the kills because FaZe are just found kind of spinning on the heels. They don't know exactly which way to look because they know that pressure's going to come from everywhere. For the time being, Handy is delivering those toxic babes onto the catwalk door, just preventing them from walking in with the shield there, which is what they were trying to do. Forest is going to relocate. Ashen, for the time being, on the book. He's working around underneath. May well look to open up the floor around pillar, around connector wall, once SSG take a little bit more ground on that side, which is, I think, what they're working for now. Forest, you can see his silhouette in the distance, about to go into meeting.
They've cleared away a lot of the utility very quickly on catwalk, which is the main one to look at. I think the camera's still there and still zapping away as they try and step forward. It's the main frustration point for them. This one here gives them a lot of information if any push comes forward. It's a great little camp to have, and the Twitch drone hasn't managed to get in and shock it off yet. I think maybe they missed that one as a bit of oversight, but as you say, Ashen has dropped away from pushing the doorway and have gone underneath and now found Cyber. Great spot to be in, but probably got to be careful because Souls is also still lurking around nearby. As soon as he steps up here, he's in hot water. I think they've seen him on the drone that was just outside the door, though. Yes, and a great shot from Ashen. Instant headshot onto Souls. A 5v3. SSG once again in full control.
FaZe are in big trouble right now. Vitaking doing what he can to keep them in the round. Manages to find a kill onto Benja, but the pressure is going to mount in this last 45 seconds as SSG try to get aggressive now. The diffuser is currently on IT breach with J90. That's where the push is going to have to come from. They don't really have too much time to relocate that. So once they've got catwalk, they will then start moving into IT. It's going to force Vitaking away, or so they're hoping. He has a look, but no, he picks the wrong target. Gets taken down by J90. SSG, again, just having to pause to take out that goo mine. It's all up to Handy. All he can really hope is to kill the right one. He manages to get one on catwalk, but he's going to be pushed by the blitz. Fultz just looking to get in there. He has diffuser. He has a goo mine in his leg. They need to think about getting this plant going. There's 3 seconds left to go. He does exactly that, Des.
He's got the cross, and that's the main thing. There's no way that Handy was ever getting across to stop him, but that first bringing down the shield and the other player challenging him. Well played by SSG. Got a little bit nervous. They were in that 5v3, and then Benja went down and thought, please, let's not see the man advantage of 5v3 slip away. But they hold on, and that's the important part. Same as on Consulate, Tim. SSG have started up with 2 rounds to kick things off. I don't want to say FaZe are going to start sweating here, but they did manage to recover things back to a 3-3. It's a very different ball game, though, when it's not your favourite map that you've got a 9-0 record on.
I've been saying for the longest time...
Oh, that's a good swing into a flat.
Yeah, it was nice. I've been saying for the longest time about SSG, I'm talking a couple of years now, that they're on this steady upward trend. We've seen they had a little bit of a dip at one event, but otherwise we've seen their finishers at events slowly improve time after time after time. And now we're starting to really see that work over the last 18 months. The culture, the preparation, the belief, all coming together in what is so far a brilliant performance against FaZe.
It was like I was saying at the start of our last map, like you look at the SI results they've had, and sure, the team has changed a bit over that time, but they've gone from going out in lower bracket round 1 to then going out in lower bracket round 2. Last year it was lower bracket round 3. They can't quite crack the major curse. They keep on going out in quarterfinals, but still making main stages at events is a great way to get that exposure. And again, like I said earlier, SI is the big one. That's what every team wants to win. And if you're constantly pressing on forward and getting higher and higher results, and given how they're playing today, you start getting very excited about their potential.
I say it just feels that very slow burning trend.
We're going to go into an event at some point, probably in a year's time. SSG, they win SI, they go on to win the next major. Everyone's like, oh my God, they're really on something. And suddenly everyone's jumping late.
Everyone's jumping in frozen lakes.
We walk in and they're all sat in a massive, like, come by our meditation circle at the start of a day.
Up at 6:15.
All in the gym together. None of us can get in there because it's fully packed out 24/7 with players. Could well change the face of the game if it goes that way.
Here we go, that round 3, SSG going to be opening up the IT wall. FaZe have moved on, they're not going for top floor again. SSG are going to be looking for top floor, not control, but they're going to be looking potentially for a pillar plant. So they need to get that wall open in IT, they need to get the wall open underneath to prevent FaZe playing in those positions where they can hold the vertical onto that plant spot. Then it's a case of generally the shield just hopping through the window and get that diffuser down on the ground. At the minute it's with Fultz, he may well well take that job on. We will see as we progress. But there's not a huge top floor presence from FaZe either. So there's, you know, a real opportunity here for SSG to go in and take this ground. And that's what they're going to do.
It's been a good, again, I spoke about it last map as well, the composure from FaZe to know when to back away and not get yourself caught out and punished by SSG collapsing on a solo roamer. I do like how they've played that game out, whereas SSG, as I mentioned back on Consulate, were getting caught out by it quite a lot. Ashen especially, Benja a couple of times is where they were losing players. This time round, even with the composure from FaZe, it's still SSG coming up and getting themselves involved. Ashen, by the way, I need to go and check the numbers. I'm pretty sure he's been involved in about 9 entry engagements throughout the series so far. They've tried to rush in, but the ratting on the bomb site itself, KDS manages to bring down 2, and like that, the advantage they were building has completely fell away. FaZe with a comfortable closeout, just because they had no idea where KDS was on site itself.
Yeah, I think SSG have made a bit of a mistake there. There's nothing wrong with trying it. They've gone for the rush, drop over, see if we can just get into the other side and try and get something going. But there was a real opportunity for them to take on the default plant. They'd got IT, they'd got top floor. They needed to deal with the Soulless Vitter who was in the basement. Makes sense. He's there to, you know, use the scanner, see if he can see when the plant is going down. But that's not very difficult to deal with. All you need to do is open the double wall down in basement. If you get that double wall open, he can't play in a position to be able to impact on the plant. And then they had enough verticality above, did SSG. They had IT floor opened up. They could watch the door into storage. There was a real I feel like they'd done a lot of the work to create that space to get the plant down, and then just went, no, there's a chance over here, let's just go there. And it kind of fell apart because FaZe, that's where they were set up, that's what they were ready for. So SSG, they dropped 1 attack, FaZe picking it up, but they're not going to mind at all. First 3 coming away with a 2-1 attack on that Haven Labs, they're going to be more than satisfied.
Certainly no complaints. That one definitely felt like a Hail Mary, so I'm with you on that front, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Broke concentration for a second and paid the price. FaZe, that kind of team that are going to get away with that kind of magic. Here we go, though, down that basement again. We've got Ashen moving over onto the Jackal. Still got a shield play coming along. It's not going to be the Monty like we saw back in round 1. I mean, why change away, Tim? Forrest has been doing a pretty good job. Now, you might look at that and go, Desi 0 and 2, he's doing an absolutely terrible job, but the space that he's creating is the key part I want to stress. Shields, Monty players especially, they aren't going to be high kill players, but the amount of space they create for the team, the information they feed across, that can't easily be reflected in numbers. It's what it does for everyone else to enable them to shine that really matters the most, which is why you have to assess the team as a complete picture and not just as, is that Monty getting kills or not? It's really not that simple.
SSG going to be starting things off with the top floor clearance again. Ashen manages to find KDS. That takes down the Legion. Great stuff that SSG have been doing on the entry so far. Cyber manages to get his 3rd of the game. 4 to go for him, taking down Fultz. Handy manages to find Forest. J9O puts an end to the 1,000-kill party here for Cyber in round 4. He's going to have to wait a few more rounds yet as he gets taken out. Ashen finds Souls. This is a great flurry of kills from SSG to give themselves a real opportunity here in round 4. They could well go straight to site here and think about putting the diffuser down.
I was about to say, we do know that the site's down in basement, right? All the action has gone on top floor.
The diffuser's cold in IT at the minute.
That's the problem.
Fultz was taken down there, so they need to go and get it back. Handy is up there, I think, just trying to play that position, knowing they're going to have to come in and take that diffuser back. He gets an absolute beauty onto Benja, just spins 90 degrees, takes him out, finds Ashen. FaZe rescued by Handy in a 2v3 that becomes a 2v1. J9O picks him up but loses so much health in the process. He has a lot of time here. He has the diffuser, but he doesn't really have what he needs to put it down on the ground.
Doesn't really have the health against the smoke. This is like dreamland for Vitter. Hasn't even got to take a gunfight to him. He's got those 2 smoke canisters to play behind. And knowing surely that shots came onto J9O, that's the moment where in ranked you're calling is one. It's not going to take much to see him blown over here. FaZe then bring things up to a 2 apiece. Unless J9O can pull some real magic. We've heard a lot of high praise for him. You heard the Death speaking about him being one of the strongest players that we've got.
J9O, there's barbed wire.
I can't believe I was midway through saying one of the best players we've got and he jumped straight into a barbed wire and nearly dies to a smoke. Let's not do that again, please.
One thing I will say is that does not change the situation he's in at all.
No.
The loss of those few HP, he's still 1 bullet, he's still 1 breath of smoke. He was anyway, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, man. Definitely making it hard for himself here, but the last smoke has come out. That's the problem. Shots being fired, now he knows where his man is. It's a case of winning the 1v1, but all we've got to see Vidaking do, I was going to say his hideaway because the time is on his side, but he goes to the swing to try and catch him off guard, expecting a sprint, gets the kill, and indeed they hold on. It was a really good two-man hold on that top floor from FaZe, to be fair. Diffuser going down there definitely helped them out, but two-man stack up there just made life a living hell for SSG.
Yeah, I think what that round does is it highlights.
Can we appreciate this kill, by the way?
It was beautiful.
Oh.
The way he looks away and then the 90-degree swing back, absolutely beautiful stuff. Handy's won the round for them there with that double. Absolutely brilliant stuff. But let's focus on what that highlights for us as well. It highlights the importance of diffuser handling. That win, that round win has been possible for FaZe because the diffuser was lost up on the top floor. Fultz was pushing pretty much on his own. He just breached IT and he moved inside. He probably didn't expect the aggression, but they get the kill there, and as soon as they see that FaZe, they're probably going to feel like, you know, their birthday's just coming because they know that they can then play off that case on the ground. Great stuff from them, and SSG maybe, again, just need to be a little bit more careful with that. You can't have your diffuser in a situation where it's just going to get dropped out in the cold on its own, and you've got to try and rescue it. It's a big moment in the round.
Nice bit of play here as well, hiding Vidaking away. Now the drones saw him out. They kept that soft wall going towards Aqua, like fully locked up, no rotation holes being opened up early on, so that Vidaking could stay hidden away behind the desk. With him being concealed now, there's not too much going to be on side for SSG to help unseat the clash. So Vidaking could be a massive part of this round. We've seen a lot of clash in this series already, and I think in this round we might just see the biggest impact yet.
RT wall is going to be opened up. We spoke about this already. It'll be RT wall, it'll be connector wall. Just apply pressure into sight. It's something that SSG did very well last time. They ultimately pushed in through IT to get those final kills, to create a situation to put the diffuser down. They may well look to do something a little bit different this time. They didn't push Aqua. I'd maybe like to see them go out there. Handy is there on the smoke, so maybe we'll put a little bit of pressure there. You've got the blitz. It's perfect sort of close quarters to use him and just turn FaZe's head. That's something they were doing so well on Consulate, turning FaZe's head in every direction.
First smoke down here from Forest, starting the march on forward for Ashen, who's crept his way forward in this milk, hoping to find a bit of a freebie. Right idea, but I think he's going to get figured out here. Indeed, he has. The Clash has hunted him down, and Souls all too happy to join up with his teammates, secure the first kill of the round. Now got the Blitz hidden the other side, and Shield versus Shield Tim. It's not happy fun time. Going to have to get himself away and dropped off the balcony as KDS goes down elsewhere. The Goya removed, and it's a 4 versus 4 with half the round still to play.
Yeah, I feel like FaZe definitely have the advantage here. They've dealt with SSG's initial push. They've dealt with the IT presence. The Blitz has been scared away. The damage has been done by the Clash. The Clash is always going to win in that circumstance because they can still just do that electrical damage through the shield of Blitz. So never going to win in a face-off. SSG, I'm not going to say they're stalling out. They are moving around. They are adapting. But it feels like more of a sort of roll of the dice now rather than this is what we wanted to do. FaZe know exactly where they're coming from. They've now got Aqua locked down with the smoke canisters. Andy's going to take Forest out because of the damage that was done earlier by the Clash.
No, but he's ran back into the smoke. He was clear.
He has, but SSG, they're going to find it very tough from here.
We're getting opened up. I thought for a second we'd see Vidaking definitely taking that off, but they've let it go. Probably nothing else to give themselves another angle to be able to challenge in towards IT, knowing they've got the man advantage. And sure enough, a swing off towards the right from Handy. A great couple of rounds from him. Tim, 3 kills in the last round, 2 in this one. It's looking good. And J9O will try and do what he can, but this is going to be 2 rounds in a row now that we've seen SSG drop. They started strong, but just like on Consulate, FaZe have worked their way into the game. They've warmed up and they've got SSG figured out.
That was great use of the Clash there from FaZe. It's really helped them get that round over the board. It's prevented the it's prevented the blitz push. It's prevented the pressure from IT. It's closed out the round there at the end of things. Really, really well utilised utility. 3-2 then FaZe as they wake up on Nighthaven Labs. SSG were able to get the first 2 attacking rounds, but FaZe now have them 3 in a row.
He was clear of it for about half a second, and I thought he was trying to go down Aqua stairs, but must have stepped back into it. Unfortunate.
I think it's one of them. Sometimes when you're just right on the edge of it, you're kind of like, no, I'm all right here, and then you're like, oh, maybe not. I'm really not all right. Yeah, when you've only got enough HP to take 1 breath of it, it's, you know, it's a very quick and easy mistake to make.
And great smoke placement as well. Really can't fault
it was
at all. It was good stuff from FaZe. Hid away that Clash, and when you spoke about it yourself, Tim, the impact it had was palpable. Here we go for the last round of the half, then FaZe with a good spot to go up 4-2. And given SSG started up 2-0, Tim, I imagine the Brazilian side will feel very happy about how this one is playing out. The North American side, maybe less so. Normally you're trying to claw an attack in round or two over the line, normally on the tertiary sites that teams go to. Whereas they found it very, very early on in this game. Going to be that first floor site to hold things down. Need a few of these players to start getting on the board as well. Benja, I know, of course, he was a big pickup and a big move to SSG when he went over there. It felt like a statement, signing in a second world champion. Fultz, of course, being the other on this roster. But not really seen him shine the way that we'd like. I've been watching his stats throughout the week, and he's hovered around the sort of 15th place mark. He is putting up numbers in the right positions, but I think in this series, when things really start to matter, when you can start getting sent home, got to put on a big show.
Last time attacking this site, SSG, of course, we saw them drop over the balcony and try and get aggressive through warehouse. It didn't really work for them. I'd like to see them look at that default plant spot, keep it simple. The last couple of rounds have been tough for them. They don't need to take too much ground that way. They can just work on securing basement, securing IT, and then they can think about the potential of putting the diffuser down. 3-2 on the scoreboard. SSG could really do with this round as a 3-3 half is big for them. On their own map, going onto the defense, they will back themselves to get 4 rounds.
I certainly would. I'd back him as well, Tim. It's one of those maps. Massive map, lots you can do, lots of trouble you can create, and we know that they like roaming, as we saw back on Consulate. FaZe will 100% have their work cut out for them, and again, being a bottom 5 attacking team, you do start to worry about the Brazilian side when we get onto that side of things. For now, though, SSG have really started a lot of work and a lot of push up on this top floor to try and force back these would-be roamers. Handy and Souls up here at the minute, dancing around on Aqua. We had drones on them. We had Ashen hoping to find someone with a little punch hole or a bullet hole coming in through the barricade, but finding absolutely nothing for it. And FaZe have drawn out the phone calls. Ben just used both of those Dokkaebi calls, Tim, and they found no one for it. Yes, they've forced them back, but they've lost half a round and got nothing to show for it.
Forrest just getting aggressive here, looking to get in there and get some clearance work done, get access into site, but he's going to be caught in a crossfire. One on the stairs, one inside of site. KDS finds an easy kill, headshot onto the blitz, and again, SSG have lost the tip of the spear. This could get difficult. Cyber manages to find Fultz, Spitter King onto Ashen, and it's falling apart for SSG on the attack. J9O taking some serious punishment, 50 seconds left to go. Handy finishes him off, Fitter King to close out the round, and flawless it is for FaZe. They have looked a different team in the last few rounds.
The final 4 rounds of that half, 100%. The first 2, it was all SSG, and FaZe looked lost, had no idea how to deal with what was coming at them. Something definitely changed in round 3, and they've flown ever since. A bit of disappointment for the North American side. They really would have hoped to have a 3-3 split there, being up 2-0, but instead, it's the Brazilian side on top going on to the attack. We're going to start things off down in the basement here in round 7. We'll see how things set up. I mentioned earlier on about SSG and their enjoyment of roaming. I'm seeing a Solus coming out from Forest, which again just suggesting we're going to see some vertical denial coming in for this basement site, the same way we saw FaZe try and do in round 1.
I feel like there's maybe, from SSG's perspective, been a little bit of over-reliance on those aggressive blitz plays for a few rounds there. It hasn't really worked. At any point, it hasn't got them into sight. It hasn't really created too much space for them. And we've seen a few rounds basically crumble after the blitz gets taken down by FaZe. FaZe have dealt with that operator really, really well in the last few rounds. And SSG didn't adapt to that. They didn't either, utilize it differently or bring along somebody else in place of the shield. But ultimately, they've paid the price for it as they find themselves now 4-2 down on the back foot, and kind of fighting more for overtime than for a win, which is, if they'd have got one more round, the position that they could have been in.
Absolutely. Never easy. Let's see how things shape up, though. Still a lot of siege to play, and we're dying, we're baying for a third map at this point, Tim. How close the first one went. I know Fresh is dying for it for his bingo card. Wants that 40-plus round best of 3. Kind of feels weird to say, but obviously there's only a few days of best of 3s left. We start getting towards that best of 5 grand final on Sunday. I think we've got to, today, tomorrow, Tuesday, a couple of days break, and then on Friday we're back, and that's when the action really kicks off on the live stage here in Boston. Can't wait to see the arena either. I've not actually seen any previews of the stage this year, so it's all...
I'm so excited for the venue. It's such a cool location as well. Just, in general, it's such a storied and historic location that, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing it, as I think everybody else is at this point.
Yep. Only more to come. Well, here we go. First phone call coming out from Handy. Hadokabi trying to hunt down across this top floor and force away anyone who might be upstairs. Drone's also rolling through as well. But so far, SSG unmoved him, and we're not far off halfway through the round.
Cyber just needs 2 more kills for the 1,000 in SI history. Currently sat on 5. He started on 993 coming into this one, so currently sits on 998 all-time 6 invitational kills. We will keep an eye on that throughout the round, but it could be any time now, especially with Cyber on the Ash. He's an absolute nightmare on the Ash. But
he was never getting out.
The nightmare is for Forest as he gets tracked down. Souls manages to find the kill. King does take a lot of damage along the way, but ultimately it's FaZe that come away on top of that one, and an opening win on the attack would be true nightmare fuel for SSG at this point.
Oh, I should know you had the right idea, buddy. Oh, almost got away with it too, but Handy's hunted him down. This has become a real consistent theme, though, Tim, across both Consulate and this map. The SSG, their roamers get punished by FaZe when they move as a team. Fultz somehow has managed to get away with one as well, despite being down to 1 HP himself. Like that, Tim. SSG, though, have wasted 2 minutes and brought it down to all things equal in a 3 versus 3.
Yeah, they are back in it, and this is what you tend to see from teams that are struggling on the attack. Yep, they can get a couple of kills, but it's just that level of being able to clinically close the rounds out that causes them problems, and SSG are holding angles well. They're getting themselves back into this. Fultz manages to find King. Souls onto Benja elsewhere. Leaves us now 2v2, but Souls is low, as is KDS, as is everybody at this stage. J9O with the most HP finds the first, Fultz the second, and SSG, they turn around what could have been a difficult round.
One thing I will probably say to it is I know that they are getting caught out on their own, Tim, and losing a couple of players. They are wasting a lot of time. The difference being for FaZe, they fall off a little bit early. They give up ground sooner to SSG. So there's 2 different styles in a way, whereas SSG are often trying to play their life out there and upset the apple cart constantly. The fact they got down to a 3v3 and won off the back of that just shows multiple play styles can work out here. I can't believe he nearly whiffed on that as well. Crazy. They get what they need, Tim. 4-3 to FaZe. SSG starting that fight back.
It's time for Forest to step up here. I'm not being critical at this point.
Yes, you are.
I'm not. I'm not being critical at this point that he's 0-6, because I'm going to follow that by saying he played a lot of blitz on the attack, and it's not always the operator that's intended to go in and get the kills. You're creating space, you're forcing players out of position. That's what you're looking to do. And FaZe dealt with him very, very well on that operator. He doesn't have a rifle, he's going in with the pistol. You can kind of forgive a low kill count from somebody who's done an entire half on a blitz. And that's why we need to start seeing a little bit more from him now on defense, because SSG don't need much more. They just need an extra 10%, and you feel like they will kind of leave FaZe in their dust at this point. They'll just move on. 2-0. Labs is winnable. They just need to find that little bit of extra juice from somewhere. As it is, Forest is going to stay on the shields. We saw how great the work was that he did on Consulate on this clash. So forget the kills. Let's just see how critical, how important Forest can be in this round on the clash. How much of a headache can he give FaZe?
I'm always the first to praise a shield player that does a lot for the team, and taking space is a big part of the responsibility in that. He's had 8 rounds in total throughout this entire series where he has been guns up, has not been on a shield operator. Doesn't really forgive so much that you currently sat at 3-18 across the series. You do need to see a bit more than that. However, when Ashen's having a phenomenal series so far, J9O still putting up big numbers as he has all tournament long. It's quite hard to say, oh, well, you need to do your part, mate, because clearly it's enabling the rest of his team to absolutely fly. First 60 seconds have gone by here, and as I said earlier on, 2 main things you want opened up is going to be that main wall inside a connector and the one into IT. They have got both of those done now, so the work of the Thermite is done. Handy can now go back to being a guns-up player for the round, but I imagine a good chunk of it, he'll be sat on drones for his team.
Forest is pushing out into connector here to prevent the progress coming through from FaZe, and this is why we see Cyber working on that electrical window. We've got King, we've got Souls. They're all kind of held up at the minute, and this is what I was saying. It might not be kills that we get out of Forest, but given the limited effectiveness of Blitz in the first half, this is where he can really shine and facilitate the rest of his team, burn a lot of time, and have those moments on the clash again. And so far, so good. He has been able to hold them at bay. He has been able to support his team. 1 minute 15 left to go, and FaZe haven't really taken too much ground yet.
Yeah, but at least they're inside of IT, which is the starting point for most attacks here. Here we go, the swing comes in from Souls on towards Pillar. In fact, there's two of them starting to push their way into sight here, and they've got the control they need at the same time. Cyber's in on Catwalk. It's a good team move from FaZe, and they're getting the kills they need, Tim. SSG are falling like skittles at a bowling alley. Only one left standing, and it's Fultz in a 1 versus 4.
I think they know exactly where he's coming from as well. It will be a trade. Fultz manages to find KDS. It was Handy on the left of him, or right as we look now, that managed to get the kill. Cyber got one more in there, which leaves him on 6 kills. 999. There's just one more.
Close.
We'll see him get the 1,000. It was a really nice round from FaZe. It was unfortunate. Forest moved through into electrical, and I think they knew that because they'd grimmed it heavily. The bees were all in there, so they knew his location, and it knew that it left them a little bit of space inside a pillar, and FaZe were only too happy to go in there and take it aggressively. And once they did that, once they had pillar, it was such a power position for them. Kills just rained in.
So like 4-man roam top? Like, we had 4 roamers this one.
No, I'm saying, yeah, but if you're gonna do it, like fully fight, like, don't try to lay off and shit. That's like one person for
basement stock. We gotta go supply. Supply.
They couldn't hear a whole ton. Cool, that's very quiet. I think he knows we're listening. It's just like, nah, you guys ain't getting nothing from me. There was a little bit of a conversation about the roam game that we, again, touched on throughout this series. Both teams having a different style and approach to it so far. SSG willing to play their lives and somewhat pay the price for it. I think here you might well see a few players up on that top floor looking to cause a little bit of bother, though, Tim, no surprises at all. So the onus becomes onto FaZe once again to clear through, get that top floor control, and then look for their execute, likely in through storage window.
Forrest is on the soloist. Keep an eye on where he plays. Likely down in the basement to prevent any potential. I mean, it could play both. It kind of works in both directions, but I think we will probably see, as Vitaking was, just underneath and trying to keep himself off the radar. Like you say, for the rest of them, it's going to be a case of trying to hold on to that top floor. For the time being, there's 2 of them up there, Ashen and Benja, to kick things off. I think we will likely see them joined by more as the round progresses. That's big.
Oh, well, he'll stay denied for now, Tim. It's not going to be in round 9 of map 2.
999.
Imagine if he doesn't get another kill all series long. And then goes to the net, they get down to the lower bracket, doesn't get a single kill against Liquid, and he goes home on 999.
What happened? Cyber's
0.1% chance that happens.
Cyber's too quality for that.
He is far too quality. You don't get near 1,000 kills at SI playing mediocre, that's for sure. Still, it's a great first start, though. The Maverick being taken down will make some of these walls a little bit more of a nuisance to get opened up. Not forgetting that we've got the Bandit on side, we've got the Mute here as well. The Maverick, of course, aim to cut through those gadgets and enable walls to be opened up regardless. And now they're going to have to go back the old-fashioned way, Tim. Let's get ourselves the shock drones in, if we can, and get rid of what we need to. Handy's also fallen. That's the buck-off line, too. Not a good start for FaZe and SSG. They keep on rolling.
Not at all a good start. Absolutely great stuff from SSG. You're just going to see the camera there, just getting a little EMP onto the blitz. He's going to relocate anyway. It won't matter. Vitaking up to the top floor, but they knew exactly where he was going to push from. SSG not really moving too much in line with that. They know they don't need to. It's 5 versus 3. They have top floor. They can kind of just wait. As long as they know where this blitz is coming from, they can just spin around and react to it when he does. Souls manages to find Ashen, so that gets something going for FaZe. And FaZe have been doing really well at this, having a man disadvantage, getting a couple of kills and getting themselves back into the round. So SSG need to be focused here, make sure that doesn't happen. Forest is down in the basement as expected, so they just need to be careful they don't get caught short-handed on site.
Oh, trying their best here to march on forward of gain anything away from SSG, but they give them nothing but a shot to the brain. Vitaking is gone. KDS doing his very best onto this challenge on Catwalk as well, but Tim, it looks a little bit cooked. Souls very isolated up towards Cargo at the same time. So the last 2 players aren't even together here, and Forest waits for him. So 4 versus 1. SSG are going to keep things tight. 5 and 4 it will go to, Tim. We could yet see a second overtime here in this series.
Sees his man. KDS manages to take down Benji. He was low health anyway, but the headshot will do the job.
He's not having a good day.
He's not. It's been a rough one.
The flick from Handy back to him earlier as well. I was just like, that ain't the Benji we know. We know what Benji's capable of. We've seen him do it so many times over. But not quite flying. I think across the series he's now 11-18 on KD. Again, that's not the Benja that we know. But when the rest of your team's flying, J90, Fultz and Ashen all having great series so far, you don't mind too much.
Great finish from J9. He was in the right place at the right time. Forrest had a good round as well. I want to shout that out. He was down in the basement. He's facilitated his team to play top floor there by being down there to basically deal if there's any attempt to just get in and plant a little rush, try and throw the diffuser down. That's why he's down there on the soul list, to monitor that and make sure it's not possible. But his timing was great. When they get to the 4v2, he's back up onto site to support his team to hold an extra angle, and he gets himself a kill. So well played from SSG as a whole, but also Forrest's understanding of the round was good there and leads SSG to a 4-5 on the scoreboard. They keep on fighting. Like I said, they're going to be chasing overtime realistically. That's what they're going to be looking for. I'm sure they're going to be looking to close it out, but when FaZe have a 4-2 half, you're kind of looking to come back with a minimum of a 4-2 and get some overtime out of it.
And I think realizing that some of this denial-focused game has really impeded FaZe, they're going to go for it in a different fashion, Tim.
Yeah.
Once again towards the Kai, mind you, but the Yokais. These days, you never see the Yokais coming out because they're no longer invisible. They haven't been for a long time. There's always this very specific game plan with them. We've seen teams, for example, on Cafe, rather than hide them on site, they'll chuck them away inside of VIP, wheel them out late round, and then try and make an impact with them. But they're also leaning in towards the Mute and the Mozzie here. We've seen a hell of a lot of Twitch throughout this game. I don't want to say in every single round, but I think in all round bar 1 or 2, it's been picked up. Yep, round 7 and round 1, the only 2 rounds we haven't seen a Twitch brought along by the attacking team. So it's, I think, a way also to try and deny that away, keep some of this gadgetry online, mainly the bulletproof cameras I'm looking at here, probably also to shield the electro claws, and of course, these Yokais. I still love when you speed boost those, by the way.
Speed boost!
Sounds like it's going for it, because normally they're so, like, pedestrian, just like... and it's like...
I feel like that noise and that action, Des, is like a good summary.
Oh, that's an unlucky bounce.
It's a good summary of your life.
What?
I feel like you operate on
0 to 100, no in between. Yeah, fair.
KDS will pick up J9 to level things out, and the pressure is mounting. Cyber in this challenge could win it out, and that is 1,000 for Cyber. Picks up the kill that he needed, and that is one hell of an SI history that he's got.
And a good kill to find as well. Ashen at close range with the shotgun. Very rarely do you walk away the winner in that situation, but it's exactly what he's done. Got the shot down first. Great stuff from him. A 3 versus 3. These two teams are so neck and neck, Tim, across so many rounds. Still hard to see who walks away the winner. They've got half a round to play, but they are seriously lacking in man count.
Yeah, SSG have just got themselves all back to sight now. If you look across the bottom right of your screen, you can see all their locations there, all with a little B next to them for basement. They have decided that they are just going to try and lock things down. So, FaZe, they've got a lot of time. That's the thing here. 1:15 with complete control of the map to start softening things up. This is definitely possible for them. They've still got the RAM. The boogie drones are out, but likely has the shotgun secondary if they want to be opening up any more verticals. And certainly work that can be done here.
It is, like I say, with the control they've got, it's not a bad spot in the 3v3. You are down 2 guns, and one of those being the shield, it does sting. That space taker, the comfortable plant that can come off the back of it, the smokes that go down in back pocket. In fact, I don't think he brought, in fact, he did bring smokes this round. They've still got 2 to go, though, because Cyber has got those ready and waiting. Steps on forward, and can he really make this 1,000-kill round something a bit special here? Still 3 players to bring down. Not an awful spot to do so. Down to this last 25, though, the movement's got to begin now. The Vassell flash coming on through, but it's going to give some room for FaZe to start their march on forward. Cargo starting to come into their control. Here we go. Fultz for now going to hold that side. Suspects a push coming in. Vita King might backstab, but the plant's going down inside of Smoke Tim. There's Yokais, as we spoke about, are now coming out and doing their work. I don't think they can stop this in time.
4 seconds left to go. They have to get something done here. KDS back onto it. Yokai drone taken out. KDS likely to stick it. FaZe, they seem to have rescued this one from the very brink of a loss. They've managed to somehow get that diffuser down, even against the Yokais. 2v1 though. Forrest, he's fighting back. He's had a quiet game, but this could be his moment where he really goes big. 1v3 has become a 1v2. Can he find the others? No! FaZe have got the angles that they need. They've got the vertical, and they get that job done.
Vita King on the vertical was the big one there as well. Didn't see a need to push down through Cargo, just held the angle for his team. Nail-bitingly close with those Yokais, but they get away with it and move it to 6 and 4. But again, just to reinforce, for Cyber, the second one in our 1,000-kill club. Joins Nest up there. Palu's not far behind and should outside of an absolute bomb out by his team at this competition, be able to get there as well. 3 Brazilian players, 1,000 kill club. What an accomplishment that's going to turn into. It speaks to the tenure of that region as well, that we still got players that were playing at SIs 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Onwards, yeah, absolutely. You know, they really have had one hell of a streak in this game. Cyber, like you say, the second to join. Palu has the potential to do it here at SI 25 as well. He will be the third to lock it in. It's all going to depend on that performance in the lower bracket game from him, but it's definitely doable.
See the Thunderbird coming out, Tim. Very rare we've seen that one being brought out. In fact, it's that first one.
One of the remaining.
Is that one operator left to play?
Thorn was the other one that we hadn't seen. So Thunderbird being brought along for those salvation stations.
Get the buff recently, it's worth stressing.
Yeah, get the mobile healing out, the opportunity. Quite often, nice little trick, keep one in pocket. If you're a roamer, you know, get them laid out, get them ready, but you can always keep one in pocket and then just pop it down if you need it.
I forget exactly what the details of the buff were, because you just haven't seen it in that long, to be honest, Tim. I'm going to recount just to double check exactly how it all rails out, but I'm pretty sure it came down to a big buff to the healing, wasn't it? Yes. Now heals to full juice rather than occasionally spitting out what feels like a band-aid being slapped on. So much more significant healing capacity being brought along for the defenders. We've seen it before where that's been re-weaponized by attackers. I think back to a game of when Kavana was still playing. It was Sloth who on Clubhouse in gym bedroom. I think they were defending downstairs. He was set up there and had a Thunderbird dropped on that top floor, sat between the two rooms. He was killed off, and then the attackers just sat there and started using it for themselves to get juice back up before they were carried on through the rest of the map. So it can work both ways against. You've got to be mindful of that.
Top floor hold it is going to be from SSG. No more mistakes possible for them on this. Their own map choice as FaZe have really stretched their legs. They've found another gear. They have taken that loss on Consulate personally. And they've come out to try and make sure they get through to the third. And what a showdown it'll be on Bank. It'll be a beautiful map to see this one go to for a decider.
The buff, I've just remembered, it's the one where it heals you over time. So you step in the range, it tags you, the buff is then applied, and it keeps on regenerating health until you hit full. So it's not a big juice of a hit. It's more that you haven't got to stay in range and wait to get healed back up to full all the time. It will do that after you leave the zone. So you're able to be more mobile. It's more of a quick pass through. Don't stop, don't pass go, don't collect $200. Just keep on marching through them. Not that I think we'll see too much of it really having an impact in this round, because FaZe, it's going to be very execute focused as these things start to cook. Can I say that? Timmy runs straight into it. There we go. Very good. So we are going to see a little bit. It's only 5 HP, but it still had a use, Tim.
FaZe are going to be using the Monty rather than the Blitz, where SSG were trying to use the more aggressive shield option. This time, Bitter King will have the big shieldy boy with the complete coverage to go in there, use it as a window and try and feed that information back out. Handy does manage to just sneak inside of Catwalk door there, get his kill onto Ashen. The smoke, a big loss when you're facing up to a Monty, and then was able to drop away, keep his life. Cyber manages to continue going on to J9. A double for SSG, keeps them in it. 30 seconds left to go. SSG look like they might hold on and do a big double from Forrest. He's finding his feet and keeping the North Americans in this one.
If that's the round where you start racking up some kills, Forrest, then oh my God, is it the one to do it. 6-5. SSG just need one more, Tim, and we'll have our second overtime of the series. We said it at the start. We expected, we anticipated, we predicted a barn burner, and it is turning into one. It's going to be a defense of the basement. We've already found ourselves down there a few times. It came nail-bitingly close just a couple of rounds ago with the Yokais having, what, a second to go and just not quite being able to get that final shot off. Could all come down to this. FaZe could bring us up to one apiece. We go to that third map where SSG can send us into overtime, and they could still do this in 2-0 fashion.
It will all be decided down in the basement. FaZe, unfortunately, know a thing or two about not getting games closed out.
They'll never pick this map again.
They know a thing or two about it, and I'm sure they're going to want to avoid that happening this time around. We can see SSG have managed to pick up a couple of drones there, so not a bad start. Just a reminder, of course, we had the changes to Solace. Fultz is not able to use that gadget during prep phase. It is not available until action phase. So, you know, just working on a normal basis to try and take the drones down. But still plenty of information possible on the board for FaZe.
There is, and yet again, No surprises at all, Tim. You've got a member of SSG out on the road. You'll probably have a couple of them. And I spoke about it so much throughout the series, it still remains true. They're enjoying having these solo roamers out and about, causing a spot of bother, and not looking to play back towards site or being cautious to hover near a hatch the whole time. They're happy to play their lives and just assume that if FaZe make a small mistake, they don't drone a certain room, that they can lose a couple of players to someone like Benji. You can see that he's been gagging for that jump out on the meeting side. Don't think he'll get it, though. Cyber is now out there, and Vidaking's not far away. Thing is, Tim, FaZe, they're a very diligent team. You can see the drone from Vidaking rolling on through the map now around his location, so he probably will get sniffed out at some point. Just don't forget that he's on the Mozzie, and they're going to see this too. Uh-oh! Time to run, folks!
Benja did go out of the meeting window there. We saw the icon flash up on our screens briefly. He did try, but didn't manage to find Cyber. He was just sucked far enough around that it wasn't a problem. Benja didn't want to risk going quite so far into enemy territory. Still aggressive onto the window, though. Nitro, can he get out of the way? Yes! Cyber just surviving there. He had to turn tail and run very, very quickly.
This is going to be crazy. They managed to get back to site here or keep on wasting time. This is brilliant from SSG. Like, FaZe are playing it right. They're being really cautious. They're playing behind the shield. They're playing behind the Dokkaebi calls. The thing is, SSG are soaking all this utility and time away from site, Tim. This is the top floor. We're defending in the basement. This time round, it feels like they've found that answer. They've managed to rotate all the way through this top floor, and by the looks of it, potentially even get all the players back towards site. Really great roam.
Yeah, I think FaZe are giving up a little bit on the top floor. They've kind of recognised, look, we're not getting anywhere here. We're wasting too much time, and it is just giving SSG that freedom to be able to play out in the map, to hold the verticals, to pile the pressure on. FaZe did manage to get the diffuser down last time they played here. Vitaking is going to go for it just inside of EXO. So important, a double shootout of the Nitro, kneeling on the third, but Action pulls the trigger in time and takes the Monty down.
So close as well. They've done all the hard work except for the last hurdle. A couple more kills fly on through an SSG team. They're going to do it again. This one feels like it's got to go the distance. Andy and Cyber with it. Please no team kills in the death, but Cyber gets the drop and gets one. Good bit of team play. Fault's there for the trade back. It's a 3 versus 1. Tim, warm up them pipes because you've got to say the line again.
Certainly looks like we're getting that way as the kill comes in from Falls, and we're going to overtime, Des!
Again! An 8-6 back on our first map. This one guaranteed to have at least the same. We could have been on course to see all 45 rounds, but at least we're going to see a good few, assuming, of course, we even get to the third map. SSG, they start on the defense, Tim. It was their map pick. They chose to come here. FaZe get to choose where to start in regulation. Now we're in overtime. SSG get that choice. They choose defense, and I do not blame them. 4-2 split so far. We're returning to the same site, down in the basement. That roam game, I think, is going to rattle FaZe a little bit, because now you're coming into this round, like, are they going to do the same thing again? Are they going to bunker up? We've seen echo strats down there. We've seen hard roam strats. Here's a third one coming out of the SSG wheelhouse that FaZe are going to have to adapt to.
Ashen is the only player on SSG so far to get an entry kill here on Nighthaven Labs. So FaZe have had a fair share of them as well. It might be a nice opportunity, a nice area that SSG could look at to, you know, somebody like Benja. He's had a quiet one here on Nighthaven Labs. He's struggled to get into it. Maybe just get himself a little livener coming into the round.
Give you a little update on the B-Stream game as well. So if you don't want spoilers, please feel free to take your headset off now or mute the stream. 3, 2, 1. Unwanted of just one. 2-0 against W7M, Tim.
Wow.
Did not have that in my predictions for today. That is an unreal result to have against them. And like you say, it could start off going from bad to worse for Brazil, but NA could be on top. The first 2 games today could see SSG and Unwanted carrying on through to the next games of today. What a story. Wow.
Let's get focused up on this one then. Overtime is underway, 30 seconds into the round. 6-6, SSG start on the defense, as you said. So much success with the roam last time around. I'm sure they're going to be out in the map, trying to cause problems for FaZe. We've got Benja working on the pulse this time, just going to be feeding that intel into his team. Very difficult. I was just going to say it's a tough spot. It's difficult to do anyway. They've missed it twice, and it's because of the angle they're trying to do it from. If Handy gets up to the window a little bit more, probably doesn't want to risk it because he doesn't want to be challenged on there. You can throw it so it hits the door frame and it kind of stops in its spot and gets the castle barricade, but throwing it from that angle, it's naturally going to roll underneath. So having to now use more utility, but FaZe, they are not wasting any time here. They are racing through this map.
Frustrating for them, however, still got to keep the move going. Every player's alive, I think, is the key one. And for the side of SSG, they are pretty dug in at this point. And they're playing behind those 4 C4s, joined up by, of course, that Pulse. And you've still got the 2 Brow to make use of if you want it to really slow things down and guarantee that those C4s hit their mark. They've got the Sens on side, they've got the Monty. I can't imagine they go for a plant in the same spot, Tim, because it didn't work out last time. Here they might try it in the one that did work out, where the Yokai zapped them away. But there are still, again, 4 C4s to be conscious of. First one comes out and finds nothing.
This is it. SSG know what's coming here. They've got the intel. They've got the pulse scanner. J9O manages to pick up Cyber. 5 versus 4. That just forces Viking away. We see a Nitro shot out by KDS as it's thrown across. Handy Souls get one apiece. FaZe might be able to do this, but Benja, he's not had many, but he gets an essential kill down in the diffuser and taking the Monty out. He's all up to Ashen, but he can't close it out. FaZe, they clinged onto a round that looked like it was going to SSG, and they get what could be a crucial attack to keep them in this matchup in the upper bracket.
It's FaZe again, just playing chess while we're all sat here playing checkers, Tim. It was one of those moves where everything was focused around Animus. They've drawn all the attention in. And then just when it looks like SSG is saying, cool, swinging in, 3-4 players, step out into tank, just go kill them all now, and this round is ours. They didn't fully account for Handy, who was sat inside a cargo. He gets the backstab spray down. All that they needed was one player to go unchecked, and the round crumbles. Both teams have undone that to each other throughout this series a couple of times. FaZe up 7-6, take their tack time out, Tim. They're going to be scheming here how they can get this done 8-6. What a series.
I really thought Benja had won the round for them then. Like I say, he's had such a quiet map and, you know, struggling to get going. He goes on the pulse, he's feeding all that intel in, but then he gets the kill onto the Monty. He steps out, takes down Viking, puts the diffuser on the ground, and from there you're thinking this one's surely done, but no. Somehow FaZe find a way, as they have done so often in this tournament over the years. They get those final couple of kills and they keep themselves fighting for another one. It was here, Ashen versus Handy at the end, and Ashen was just low health.
He had the right idea.
This is the problem. He was just so low health. It was a difficult challenge. It was one that he had to make realistically, but 7-6 we find ourselves then. FaZe go on to the defense and they're gonna take storage.
Ooh, okay. The nice thing about this site is they had success here already.
I'm bothered about Forest being on Blitz, because both times that FaZe have successfully defended this, they've tried to just push the Blitz into sight, and it hasn't really worked. They've just tried to get aggressive into control room, once from the warehouse side, once from the Aqua Stairs side, and FaZe have just completely shut it down both times. I feel like SSG have a look towards that default plant spot, get a bit of control underneath and above, and try and get this diffuser down, because brute forcing into control with the Blitz has not worked.
The key thing, when you look at the 2 times that FaZe have defended this site this game already, is that SSG have found 1 kill across those 2 rounds.
Yep.
It has barely been close. One of them was flawless, one was a 4K. So there's work to do. The thing as well in both those rounds is FaZe got the entry. They started things out strong and they just rolled the round forward from there. If SSG can have a strong early round, get some initial control, then I think things will start to look up for them a lot more. But that entry could be decisive.
Looking at working to open IT wall, that should be successfully completed now, so that's kind of the first step in what I was talking about. You've got IT, they can't hold pillar from above now because of that breach, or they shouldn't be allowed to. Consider your basement. What are your options down there? There's no Solace on side this time for FaZe, so it may well be that it's a little bit easier. Looking across their positioning, they have nobody down in the basement. This plant spot could be open if you get in there and you can hold your cover. Open the warehouse wall so you can hold through to lounge. Just try and take a small area. You don't always need to take the whole thing.
That's why, again, being careful. They want that entry. They don't want to concede too much. Bit of team play here, a flash over the top, and then a swing could be the play. Here we go with the push on forward. Sure enough, Benja gets the entry. Good moment, good bit of team play coming out from SSG. It has taken 1 minute and 45 to get to this point, Tim. Don't forget, this is still the top floor. We are attacking down onto the first.
Forest has just chased Souls away as well. Fultz has diffuser in hand up above, and I'm keeping a close eye on him for where is he going. He's out of IT breach. It looks like he's heading for that spot that I spoke about, getting in towards Pillar for a plant.
I'm watching KDS because don't forget, last time round he just sat on the A-bomb chassis and got the 2K. SSG should know about this. It should be droned. He should not be allowed to play there. Has been moved away, but now Ben just been caught out on the IQ too. Not the end of the world, it's just the IQ. But Tim, they've moved things over. They're going to try and go for a plant here inside of storage. Nice.
Both nitros are gone. I think this is the play. Get in here. You just need to worry about lounge door, and that's going to be Forest's job. They've got one underneath. That's the kill they need to find. They haven't opened that up. But the Fenrir's movement was good. Souls, he wasn't down there for the longest time. He went there when he recognized that this was the intended plant, but it wasn't enough. And that was the attack that we needed to see out of SSG to take it to 15. They saw the space. They knew the opportunity was there. Souls nearly undid it. He recognized with great game sense that they didn't have anybody in basement, and he went to take that spot but couldn't find his kill. And SSG, they take us all the way to 15, Des.
So clean and clinical from SSG. I was nervous after how it went before. We had that FaZe tack timeout. They knew they'd done so well on this site twice already. Why fix what ain't broken? No doubt would have been a bit of a conversation. I'm sure there's a comparison to that expression in Brazilian that I don't know, but it would have been said. Unfortunately, can't get it done. They look like they're on the rocks, Tim. They barely won round 13 on that attack. It went down to a 1v2 for Handy. And SSG have just steamrolled over them. Now FaZe have to attack. Bearing in mind that during regulation, both teams only took 2 attacking rounds in their halves. It's not looking pretty. And in all rounds, to do something a little bit bananas, Forest is on the Cav.
Why not? Why not, Des? This game's had everything so far. Fultz, just a shout as well, 15-7. What a game he is having here on Night Haven Labs. I think he feels like becoming a two-timer, Des.
I think he wants that second.
He wants that second one, doesn't he?
Across the series, Jane I think it's 27-16. Fultz is now 26-16. They're both having brilliant games so far. Yep. On the other side, it's mainly Handy and Souls that you're seeing putting up big numbers for them. But Jane and Fultz definitely even clear of Handy at the moment and looking solid.
Forest,
one more round, boys, is all they need.
Forest on the Cav is currently down in basement. As I've said, generally you will have a basement player for this site to prevent what we've just seen happen. If Souls wins his kill there, you can hold on to Pillar, you prevent the diffuser going down. That's what you're looking to do. But Forest is in and around. He's kept himself off the radar. I think that's why he was down in basement to begin with, because they didn't want to get spotted out. And he's still in and around that area, up and down the stairs.
The key thing for me is there is nothing on the side of FaZe this time to hunt him down. They've ran Jackal, they've ran Dokkaebi, they've ran tools to deal with roamers, and now you're dealing with one of the most elusive roamers in the game. This is great because SSG have wasted so much time in the roamers. We've said time and time again, if FaZe have to go down in the basement and hunt him out, this starts to get really, really messy.
My only question is, how much of an impact can Forest have if FaZe don't go looking for him? Can he get himself into the round? That's the real question we will see as it plays out. But let's focus on what's happening right in front of us for the time being. They're going to get the IT breach open. So again, boxes being ticked by FaZe. They're doing the bits of the job that you need to do. I'm wondering, are they going for the pillar plant themselves? It looks like they are certainly operating around that area. They've got the book there, so they can open up the floor if they want to, if they want that visibility. Maybe go down, open this wall into the basement.
They need that kill.
SSG getting away with it. The Nitro! The Nitro comes out from Benja. That's the second entry in a row. Takes down Cyber, and that could be the first step towards a matchup with G2 for SSG.
Did they miss him? I don't think he saw him on the stairs. They suspect that he might be nearby. There's a flank drone watching him. Cyber needs to have this and be calling it out. In he comes and goes with the Monty. The Blitz can't quite bring him down, but he is down to about 2/3 HP. He's still here, and Tim, they've let him go. How has he got away with this? KDS now down. It's a 3 versus 5, and this is looking miserable.
Forest now, it's like having a wasp in the room with you, Des. They know the Cav is there, but they can't do anything about it. He was thinking about it. There will be no interrogation. Full steps around, gets the kill onto Viziking, and SSG, they look like they've found that extra gear exactly when they needed it, Des. 4 versus 2, 4 versus 1. Interrogation! To close it out, Forest takes their handy action with the last, and SSG continue in the upper bracket to face G2.
Laying it on thick as Ashen is known to do. All the boys are up for it, and Tim, after a 2-0 against one of the tournament favourites, how can you be surprised?
Handshakes now.
All is fair in love and war, Tim, but at the end of the day, they're competitors.
Well,
There's that mutual respect.
FaZe are laughing there, I think, you know. Yeah. So